And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the 5-year Coaster Hour channel anniversary special episode of Coaster Time, hosted by me, Carrick from Coaster Hour. And as always, we will be doing a lot of different segments, including 2 special segments, or really 3, depending on how you look at it. We will be having an ultimate quiz along with 2 tier lists, so a 2 tier list special. That'll be a lot of fun, along with a lot of the other normal segments. And of course, with me today, I also have a special guest who has been a big part of the channel over the last 5 years, even more so before the channel also. So with that being said, I have Jace from 808CoasterLife. So Jace, if you could introduce yourself and tell us where to find you, that would be absolutely fantastic.
All right. So for those of you who didn't see the past streams I was in, I'm Jace. I am a coaster enthusiast from Hawaii. Whoa, haven't seen that very often. Um, so as you can imagine, my coaster count is a modest 56 right now. Um, but I do have a YouTube channel. It's called 808 Coaster Life. You can probably find that in the link in the description. I post like mainly coaster reviews right now, but I do some lists. I do some new coaster analyses. I even do vlogs too. If I actually do get to theme parks, those are always very fun. Um, I am in college right now, so uploads may not be the most frequent, but I get to it whenever I can. I also have an Instagram under the same name at 808 Coaster Life. I post more like channel updates there. Yeah, that's like the gist of it.
Alrighty. And for those of you watching, I also have a poll in the chat. We have the 2 tier lists, so you can decide on the order that we're going to do them. And that'll be decided as we go through our first few segments. So also make sure to say hello in the chat. Looks like, yeah, I think sometimes notifications are a little slow, so it looks like that's the case this time around, so that it'll probably get out there soon enough, though. But with that being said, we'll go into the news. So we got 5 segments for this, and we'll get started with that right away with our first bit of news. And some of this is stuff that's happened a long time ago. I haven't done a stream in a while, so that's why some of this stuff is from a little longer ago. But Montezuma, the Forbidden Fortress at Knott's Berry Farm, will indeed open in 2025. Of course, this project was believed to be dead following Cedar Fair's report of a terminated project at Knott's Berry Farm, and it was also removed from the park map, leading to many to believe it would be gone for good. Of course, this ride was supposed to reopen in 2023, but now will open in 2025. And deconstruction progress has also began again, with both spikes actually being removed, which is good for the project's continuation. We don't know much information about this new, about what it will be like now, the new Montezuma's Forbidden Fortress, as they use the same video as they did initially. So details are still very scarce, but obviously it is great to see this ride stay around. Jace, what are your thoughts on Montezuma indeed being revived and staying alive?
I'm really glad that it's actually coming back. I mean, this ride is a classic. It's been with this park for a while, and it's a very rare type of coaster, so I'm glad it's getting preserved. I actually rode this ride only once, and it was like all the way back in 2017. So if I do go back to Knott's Berry Farm, I would be very excited to check this one out. Hopefully, they don't hinder the ride too much from its original, like, I don't know, ride experience, but they're definitely going to improve it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it'll obviously still be a very different ride from what it originally was, but obviously hugely sentimental coaster to me, so the fact that it is surviving in some way is huge, especially when it looked so grim for like a few weeks there, and even a few months, really. So really great to see that it is going to be sticking around in some form, so definitely agree there. Next, we have a ride opening. Also happened like almost a month ago at this point. We got Lift Hill Lightning Rod, which has opened at Dollywood. It opened to the public on March 8th. Previews were like a few days earlier. Of course, they switched out the initial launch for Lift Hill to improve reliability, as the coaster has been notorious for downtime, despite a lot of attempts to fix that. Initial reviews said that the coaster was definitely noticeably slower and that there was still some downtime. But more recent reviews in recent weeks have been saying that the ride has been more reliable, allowing for multiple re-rides, and that the pacing is pretty close to the same as what it has been in the most recent years, though still not as strong as it was in the first 2 years, as probably most of us would have expected. Jace, I know you never got the chance to check out Lightning Rod in its original form, but what are your thoughts on this change to Lightning Rod and pretty much everything that goes along with it?
I'm probably gonna reserve my full judgment until summer comes around because keep in mind, the climate's still like pretty cool, probably in
Mm-hmm.
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So I'd imagine like when it gets up into like the 80s and 90s in summer, uh, I would be very interested to see how this ride would run. I mean, they said that it crests the lift hill at the same speed. Um, as it did when it had a launch. Maybe not like in 2016 when in its opening year, but like more recently. So I'm glad it's more reliable. The one thing I do miss is right at the start of the lift hill, when I was a launch, the LSM sort of extended to the straight track below it, and I thought that was really cool. How it just sort of like started accelerating before you even like went up. That definitely got changed, but of course the lift hill speeds up once the train is like, fully inclined. Anyway, overall, I am pretty happy with this change, especially since it helps the ride stay open longer.
For sure. And I'm happy to hear that in having looked at more recent reviews that the reliability is better because I know like the first few days it was still like being down and people were freaking out, even though it's like it's the first few days with a major change. It's like, that stuff is kind of normal. But I'm happy to see that already we've been seeing notable improvement. And as you said, you can't really judge it until it warms up. I'm already happy to see that some people are saying the pacing is pretty close to what it was, like say in the 2020s. So that is definitely good to see there. And of course, I rode Lightning Rod. It is a shame that they couldn't work it out with the launch, but in terms of the ride experience, the launch was certainly like cool, but I don't think it was like one of the best elements on the ride or anything like that. It was more like just kind of a neat sort of gimmick, I would say. So I'm pretty cool with this change, and I don't really think it would drastically change my opinion that much if the ride is running at about the same pace as it did previously. Just maybe just a smidge like lower, just because the launch was kind of cool, but I don't think it's like a super game changing thing that would be that detrimental to the experience. So yeah, that is Lift to Lightning Rod. Next, we move on to a launch coaster that that did have many issues and will never reopen, and that is Dododome at Fujiku Highland. Of course, it'll never reopen. It's been closed since August of 2021 due to reports and investigations related to neck fractures caused by the ride. No updates were given on the ride's future until March 13th, when the park confirmed the ride would never reopen due to concerns in ensuring rider safety and having no injuries. And then, of course, this was the fastest accelerating coaster of all time, 0 to 111.8 miles per hour, launch in 1.56 seconds in its newest iteration. With the loop, of course, it operated originally with a top hat at a slightly slower speed. And as a weird result, also Six Flags Great America and Max Force and Thorpe Park and Stealth have also attempted to claim the record for world's fastest accelerating coaster, which has caused a lot of debate. So that's just kind of a weird result of this whole thing.
Mhm.
Obviously, neither of us got to ride it, but Jace, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this was actually like I think my number two bucket list coaster. So really sad that it's getting removed. I mean, for the safety reasons, yeah, I do understand. But yeah, I hope whatever replaces it, if anything does replace it, it's really good. But yeah, really sad. But I mean, we still got some pretty fast accelerating coasters out there. And that is where the industry is going. Industry is going more towards LSMs. Even though they're slower, they're much more reliable. So I think from like a financial and safety point of view, I guess it does make sense, even though, yeah, this coaster looked really sick.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was quite. It wasn't quite as high for me on my bucket list, but it's still pretty high. Obviously, was looking forward to checking it out whenever I got to Fuji Q. Of course, they still have a Janaika, which is pretty awesome, so can't complain about that. But
Yep.
losing this does definitely hurt a lot. As someone who, and I'm sure for a lot of people who've never ridden it, just to be able to experience this pretty much one of one launch that we're probably not going to see again. So, um, but I mean, it was an insane ride. So, and it definitely will go down in history for that. So, and those who were fortunate enough to ride it can give their experiences, so the memory of this ride will live on. So, it was obviously super interesting and insane ride. So, yeah. Next, we're moving on to an upcoming project, and this is Mattel Adventure Park. A new one is coming to Kansas City, specifically on the Kansas side, in 2026. So, from the information that was given and all the pictures, it actually appears that all the attractions from the Arizona location are just also going to be here. It's unclear if that means like the coasters are going to be exact clones, but that's kind of what it looks like. If not, the entire park is a clone, which is really interesting. Um, if that ends up being the case, but Twin Mill Racer and Bone Shaker in some form, probably a clone, in both cases will be there. And they're planning to break ground on this park in 2024. Jace, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I honestly I don't know too much about the Mattel Adventure Parks. The one in Arizona hasn't opened
Mm-hmm.
yet. So I found it kind of weird how they were already announcing like this the second location, even though the first one hasn't opened yet. So I guess if the first one opens and it's like turns out to be super cool, then yeah, I would be pretty excited for this park. But I guess since the first location hasn't opened yet, I'm like, mm, cool. But there's not like a proven record yet.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because there was like very little indication that this was happening, that they were going to announce a second one, and of course, as you said before the first one even opened, though that one will be opening hopefully sometime within the next 12 months here. But I think they're planning to even do previews at the end of this year and open it officially in early 2025. So it does look like it's getting pretty close to being done. But yeah, super interesting that if it is indeed literally like the same park, even though it's like it's in another state, so a lot of people they wouldn't know that there's another one or they wouldn't be able to travel to it, so it makes sense in that way. Kansas City, from my understanding, growing city, so it makes sense to put it there, even with Worlds of Fun being nearby. And this one also seems to have more indoor attractions, which should be helpful. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see both the Mattel parks open, what they end up being like, and how this one ends up coming along in the next few years, for sure. And another new park in this area of the U.S. too, because they have Oasis at Lakeport coming up. American Heartland in Oklahoma is not that far away, so this area is definitely growing with parks, that's for sure. But next we have our final bit of news. This one came pretty recently, and that is that Holiday Park has confirmed the Mach Extreme Spinner for 2026. So this was confirmed in an interview. Loopings did an article on it. They are they're like basically the go-to Dutch coaster and theme park industry news site. And so basically, the coaster was described by Plopsa's director, since Plopsa Group owns Holiday Park, as, and this is in a translated quote, a Tomorrowland coaster that will be approximately a copy of the one we have here in Japan, referring to Ride to Happiness. it's not. We're not sure yet if this means like. Obviously, we do know that it's going to be the Mach Extreme Spinner, but we don't know if it's going to actually be a cloned layout or if it's just the same model and this will have a different layout. Especially because the quote was translated, so it might have just come out a little weird. But they are going to get a Mach Extreme Spinner for 2026, and it'll be themed to Tomorrowland. So we'll see if it actually ends up being a clone of Ride to Happiness or if it ends up being a different layout. Either way, super exciting. Jace, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, we love extreme spinners. So I'm really glad another park is investing in it. I guess if I guess Ride to Happiness was at least a pretty big success for Plopsaland because why would they add a second one? I would imagine Ride to Happiness was probably a pretty expensive investment for them. So I wouldn't say a complete clone or an identical clone is like completely out of the question. I mean, obviously we wish it wouldn't be, but I wouldn't say that's totally out of the realm of possibility. I guess also they could do like a slight modification for the land, kind of like Jersey Devil versus Wonder Woman kind of thing. That could work. But nevertheless, it's an extreme spinner. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, it looks. I mean, obviously, Ride to Happiness. That is actually my number one bucket list coaster. So even if it's a clone of it, in one way I'll be a little happy because Holiday Park's actually closer to a lot of other parks that I would theoretically visit in Germany, where Plopsaland. It is in Belgium, so it's not that hard to get to if you're doing a trip around that area. But it is a little kind of in its own section of the country. So it'd be more accessible if it was a clone, and if it is a different layout, that's also awesome because that means we have two incredible Mach Extreme Spinners. Really three because Time Traveler is also obviously a great ride. But I just know that most don't quite have it in the same conversation as Ride to Happiness. So yeah, that is obviously really exciting. And that top two at Holiday Park, between that and GeForce, that's pretty insane. That's one of the absolute best top twos out there. So that's going to be really cool as well. So very excited for that. And that'll wrap it up for the news segment. So next we're going to move on to our ultimate quiz, which will be done via the slides. So let me pull that up here. And this is an ultimate quiz because there's 20 questions, both channel and coaster related. So that's going to be the plan there. So there we go. And we're going to get started right away. Yep, there's the rules. And there you go. So the first one is, what is Schwarzkopf's tallest roller coaster? That is the first question. And Jace, I think for this quiz, you can answer in regular chat, I think. So that's fine.
Yeah, I can join the chat.
Or you could do it here, whichever one's easier. And then I need to do the timer. But timer starts now for that. So here we go. So timer has begun. I have it at about 60 seconds. So let's see. And then I need to get the answers to stream up. And for those of you playing, you have about 20 seconds left. So make sure to get that in. You're good. You're good. Charged on PC. That looked like an accident, so you're good. Yeah. So put in your answers, and then we're all over the map for this one. So we'll see here. Yeah, every answer was done. So that is the timer. The correct answer for this is indeed A. Montezuma's Revenge at Knott's Berry
Interesting.
Farm is indeed the tallest one. So there you go. So Charged on PC will get a point there. And we'll get to the next question. So next we have both channel and coaster related questions. So which of these Coaster Time guests has appeared multiple times? That is the next question. And the timer has also begun. So there you go. I realize now that the birthday of my channel being before Easter Sunday is not ideal because I'm sure a lot of people have plans. But for those of you here, thanks for checking out the stream. So, and everyone's going with the same answer. All right, I guess we're already at that strategy. Yeah, alrighty, and so. The timer has run out, so the correct answer here is indeed B, Theme Park Media. Yep, so all of you got that. So Charged on PC has 2 points. 808 Coaster Life, you are on the board.
Yay!
As is Michael. And then my dad in chat, so there we go. Alrighty. Yep, and I specifically did Coaster Time because I think, actually, if I'm correct, Mark and from Coaster Dash and Mike from Canopy Coaster have appeared on viewer call-in streams, which would not count technically, but anyways. All right, we'll move on to the next question, which is, which of these countries has never had an Intamin coaster? That is our next question. Looks like we're getting a few more people in, so that is good.
Ooh.
For those of you who are joining, we are doing an ultimate quiz, so you still have plenty of time to come in and compete. So, but yeah, which of these countries has never had an Intamin? People are taking their time to answer this one. Hello, Mr. Cole Roaster, like to see you in chat.
Seems like a decent few of them didn't, but
Alrighty. So, and I think timer is getting close. Last few seconds for those of you. Coaster Scorpion, hello. Alright, timer has run out, and the correct answer is D. India is the correct answer. Shoot, I don't have the coasters off the top of my head, but Indonesia has one. I do know that. Vietnam has a Intamin straddle coaster, and then Canada has Dragon at La Ronde, I know, is one of them. So they might have a few others. But yeah, D is indeed the correct answer. So Charged, or actually Michael, got that second point. So there we go. Alrighty. Next, we'll move on to our next question, which is, which coaster was featured in my first video's thumbnail? I can give a hint. This stream does feature a hint, depending on how you look at it. So.
I see.
Yep. So that is the question. Oh, and also there were some people confused with the, oh yeah. All right. That's very coincidental. We'll get to that in a bit because I don't want to spoil the answer yet. But some people were asking about, because I used the old logo in the promotional stuff for the stream, and people thought it was a new logo who hadn't been watching for long enough. I'm like, no, it's the old logo I had. So for the thumbnail of this video. But anyways,
it's okay. The viewers can't see my shirt right now.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't matter. Everyone got it right. um, the correct answer is D. I think I gave it away with that hint was very generous. But it is indeed X2. I mean, honestly, though, is it really much of a surprise? For those of you who've been watching for a while, probably not. So, everyone got another point. And then Mr. Cola Roaster is on the board. Alrighty. So we'll move
Welcome
on.
to the board.
There you go. Next, we'll move on to this next question, which is also related to X2. What was the month that it opened? Officially opened, not counting previews. Although I don't even think that'd be an issue. We've given the answers, so. Yeah, I started the timer a while ago, so it's already down to almost 30 seconds. So that's about as much time as you have. And let's see. Also, looking at the poll for the first tier off topic, looks like we're probably going to do SoCal Roller Coasters tier list first. If you haven't voted yet in the poll, you can choose which out of the 2 tier lists we're going to do first. So make sure to do that.
Sweet.
But you got 5 more seconds to answer the question. And the time has run out. So the correct answer here is D, January. Had a late opening because of several delays. It did preview in December. It was meant to open in 2001, ended up officially open in 2002. So there you go. Shares a birth year with myself, so that's nice. Yeah, so Michael was the one who got the point there. And Michael's actually in the lead now, so there you go. Next question. Which of these content creators have I not collaborated with yet? And by the way, this is collaborated, so this does not necessarily just include Coaster Time. In fact, I can say right now that no one on here has been on Coaster Time, hence the example I have on the doc, because that was I was in the Coaster Bot 5-year celebration, so that's the reference I used. Yeah, so these other content creators, I've collaborated with all of them except for one on their respective channels, basically. So, yeah. Probably one of the tougher questions I have on here, because some of this stuff spans a good chunk of time. Alrighty, so there's definitely 2 main answers here. Timer has run out. The correct answer is A, Park Bros, though keep an eye out for the future. Anyways, yeah, so Parks Bros, I did a Listmas video with him. And then Theme Park Avenue, we just did the Crazy Experiences video. And then Thrill Central, I went on his podcast like a long while back, so a really long time ago. I think that was even before Coaster Time existed. So yeah, there you go. But anyways,
Completely forgot about Thrill Central.
Yeah, that's why I kind of threw it in there, just because I'm like, but no one guessed D, so that's actually pretty crazy. I guess people know.
Classic.
Yeah, that's a while ago. But there you go. So Cola Roaster got a point there, and so did you, Jace. So there we go. Next question. True or false, Firebird was the last coaster Six Flags Great America removed? And we're starting the timer. So... Oh, no. They're putting me on a technicality. Yes, but he didn't host it, and I didn't know he was in it. So, like initially, I guess you could technically say that I kind of BS'd with that answer. I did not think about it that way. um, but I'm going to say that that was still a fair question to ask. Dang, everyone's saying false for this one. We'll see if that pays off. But we have the final few seconds here. And the timer is up. And so the correct answer is indeed false. So, yeah, everyone got that right. So we're going to go with that. So charge
Do we
on
know the
PC
coaster that got removed afterward?
Raging Cajun.
Oh, okay.
Was going to mention that, but yes, it was Raging Cajun for those wondering. So there you go. But yep. Next we have what let's see. What was my first ranking video? That is the question. So what was my first ranking video? And the timer has begun for that. So yeah, which out of these four? I did all of these, but which one was my first? Obviously not the one in the picture, although funnily enough, that I believe is the one that has the most views. I don't know why. It's got something like over 40K or something for reasons. I think it might even be over 50K now for reasons I do not know in comparison to the rest. But yeah, so which was the first one? Wow, a lot of people are going for one specific answer. We'll see if that one pays off here. But yeah, this one was also a tricky one because the ranking videos I started so long ago. So hence why they're included in a 5-year special episode. And the timer has run out, so the correct answer is B. Top 10 roller coasters I've ridden. Most anticipated was my second one I did. So if you did that, you were not far off. And honestly, I think they were pretty close to each other, if memory serves me right. So Mr. Color Roaster gets the point there. And then we'll move on to the next question, which is, which of these roller coasters have not been relocated? And the timer has begun. So there we go. And the coaster pictured there is Batwing. So obviously not one of the answers, but that is the coaster that did not get relocated in the sense of it did not operate somewhere else and then get relocated. So one of these other coasters also has only operated at one park. So there you go. You got about 15 seconds left, so probably should put in your answers pretty quick. So, alrighty. And that is a timer. So the correct answer here is C, Mind Eraser at Elitch Gardens.
Damn.
Dang, I thought you were gonna get that. I thought I gave you. I know it's like technically your home park, but you only been there once. And it's like, all right, but
I guess it was probably built after Elitch Gardens relocated as a whole park.
Correct.
That's what sort of threw me off.
Okay, that's actually fair. Good point. I didn't even think about that aspect of it, but yeah, that would definitely make it more tricky. But yeah, it is indeed Mind Eraser. So Charged on PC got it. And is now tied for the lead with Michael. So there you go. Next, so I just started doing short form content a few weeks ago. I've been really busy as of late, so that's why it's stopped for a bit, but I'll get back on it. What coaster was the subject of my first short form video? That is the question. So yeah, so if you've seen that on YouTube or Instagram, or I also have a TikTok now. all of those I post the short form content on. So, yeah, that is the question. TikTok. Well, we'll see about TikTok if TikTok actually gets banned or not, because I mean, I would still do short form content on other platforms, but that would definitely be interesting to see how that affects things if that were to happen. But anyways, the correct answer here is A. So Jace is the only one who got it. Steel Dolphin was the
Yay!
second one. So if you put that in, good guess. The other two were not in any of the, were not in the two shorts I've done. Yeah, Wild Mouse at Town News Wonderland was the correct answer. It was the subject of the random RCDB coaster short. So there you go. Next, we have a question about this specific ride. Who manufactured this coaster? That was the subject of the video. So if you watched it, you would know. Maybe this picture will give it away, but you got to figure it out. So who manufactured Wild Mouse at Town News Wonderland in Germany? Yep, tricky question. And then you have about 30 more seconds if you haven't put your answer in.
It wasn't Steel Dolphin your first like full length obscure coasters video, or
It was the only.
oh,
It was the first and only.
that's why I was like, okay, the first full length one can't be your first short, so
It
that-
almost it almost was, because it was like just easy to translate, but not
that's
quite.
true, yeah.
So it was a good guess if you picked it, especially because they released 1 week after each other, so it's pretty close. So, alrighty, but we have actually, all right, timer has run out. And the correct answer here is D, Mock Rides. Mock Rides is the manufacturer for this one. So Michael got it right. Retakes the lead. And Frontier Coasters is on the board. Welcome to the stream. And gets a point. Still a lot of time to come back at this point. So, yeah. Next, we have another channel related one. Which of these guests has ridden Dragon's Run? This is, of course, the B&M sit-down coaster in Vietnam that used to operate as Led Zeppelin at Hard Rock Cafe / Freestyle Music Park. Or not Hard Rock Cafe, Hard Rock Park. No, it did not operate at a Hard Rock Cafe. That would be sick, though. I do wish. But anyways, you have about 30 seconds if you haven't answered yet. If a Hard Rock Cafe with a B&M coaster, that'd be really nice.
That's one coffee.
Yep. Yep, about 10 more seconds left for those of you who have not answered yet. Here, it's between two people, so that is interesting. I'm not surprised with the two people it's between. Already, and time is up. So the correct answer here is D, National Coasters. I did actually I had this question in mind, and I had to DM Canopy Coaster just to make sure you did not ride this before it got relocated, right? And he confirmed it. So, Josiah from National Coasters is the only one who wrote it. He actually wrote it in its current location in Vietnam. So I believe at Dragon's Park, I believe is the park that it's at. So, yeah, that is the correct answer. So, Charged on PC got it, along with Mr. Coal Roaster, Frontier
Already catching up.
Coasters, and Michael also got it. So Michael still holds the lead with 7 points. And we'll move on to the next question, which is, what year did Freestyle Music Park or Hard Rock Park open? And I want to say Hard Rock Cafe so bad for some reason. um, but yeah, what year did it open?
Letter of the day.
Yep. Alrighty. So about 40 seconds left if you haven't answered yet. All right, everyone's staying around the same area, or well, almost everybody. So we'll see if that pays off. Already about 10 seconds left for those of you who have yet to answer. So, and the timer has run out. So the correct answer here is A, 2008, which makes sense that it opened during basically close to about the beginning of the recession and did not make it. So makes sense. But Dad was the only one I think who got it right. So that is a point there. And we'll move on to our next question, which is it closed in I think closed in 2010, or it might have been 9, but it opened in 08. I do remember that. But yeah. Next, we have our next question, which is my number one Intamin coaster? And there's about 50 seconds left now, so there you go. Let me check on RCDB real quick just to confirm. I think it closed in 09, but let's see. Yeah, operated from 2008 to 09. Just horrible time to open the park. And it already was plagued with issues otherwise. So I think before it began. So
I'm gonna risk it.
you're gonna risk it. Alrighty. I'm not surprised that it's basically between two answers. I'm really not. And I'm not surprised with the two coasters it's with. And the timer has run out. So the correct answer is A, Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. They're close. But Skyrush is my number 2, and then Dragster is my 3, and obviously, and no one picked I-305 because I have not written it. But Velocicoaster is indeed the correct answer. So there you go. Michael got it. Charged on PC got it. And Mr. Coal Roaster got it. Alrighty. So we'll move on to our next question, which is, which of these coasters listed are the fastest? That is the question. Which of these coasters is the fastest? And let's see. What question are we at? Are we at 15? Yeah, we're at 15. Okay. So, still plenty of time for anyone. It's still anyone could win this. Yep, Michael remembers that Velocicoaster is my number 4 specifically. So, good memory there. Yep. So, which of these coasters is the fastest? Shoot, I'm trying to see, where did the answers start? Oh, okay, I see where it started. Okay, so that makes sense. You have about 10 seconds left if you have not answered. Sorry, I've been talking quite a bit. Alrighty, and the timer has run out. So Time to reveal the correct answer here, which is actually
No.
B. Flight of Fear at Kings Island, a ride that if you've watched the... Actually, no, it's not even in my top 100 coasters, so that's how you know I love it. Um, oh man, what a disappointing ride. I'm sorry to say, if for those of you who are a fan of it, I was severely underwhelmed. But yeah, Flight of Fear is the correct answer. So Michael is still in the lead with 9 points, followed by Mr. Color Roaster and Charged on PC with 7. So there you go. We'll move on to question 16, which is which of these coasters are not in my top 10? So, and the coaster pictured Lightning Run is also outside my top 10. So that's why it's in the picture. Still an awesome ride, just a little outside of it. But there you go.
I would still hold out hope for the outside Spaghetti Bowl coasters.
Yeah, it was so, I was so shocked by how rattly Flight of Fear was. That was like actually shocking. I did not expect that like at all. It was just brutal in that sense. So
Poltergeist just got a repaint, right? Not any kind of like
yes,
retrack. Okay.
I don't recall it getting retracked.
Probably not.
Oh, and well, there's a timer just going. I didn't give much warning there. Correct answer here is B. So Jace, you got that one, and then Mr. Color Roaster also got it. So yeah, Mystic Timbers is I believe actually my 12 off the top of my head. I believe that's where I have it ranked. Whereas Ghost Rider, Twisted Colossus, and Beast are all easily within my top 10. So there you go. Next, we'll move on to this question, which is which of these coasters open first? And the picture is a hint, in a way. So guess away in the chat. Looking at the poll also, if you haven't voted, once again, that's how we're going to decide how we're doing which tier list first. It definitely looks like we're doing SoCal roller coasters, so looks like that's going to be the plan there. Yeah, so about 30-ish seconds for those of you to answer, because I've done a really bad job as of late trying to give warnings for the timer. But yep, so everyone's going with the same answer. This is interesting. We'll see if it works.
This is recent enough for me to remember.
Okay, you feel that confident? All right. Alrighty then. So the timer is up, and wait, hold on. There we go. The correct answer is D, Red Force, which everyone got that right. So let's see.
Only one open in 2017.
Yep, exactly.
Or on this list.
Yep. So Michael is still in the lead at 10. Mr. Color Roaster right behind with 9 as we head into question 18, which is, which of these roller coasters do I own a track piece of? Dang, you never did that. You did that so fast.
No, I'm just kidding.
But we'll see what is the correct answer. I had a hard time coming up with pictures of track pieces, so that's why you have this weird generic thing there for the reference photo.
Track or Morgan
I know.
track.
I was like surprised. I'm like, man, really? It's this hard to get an example? apparently. So, um, yeah, okay, let me look at the timer. About 10 seconds left. But no, you cannot change your answer. That once you answer, that is your answer. That be the
Sorry.
rules. All right, but that is it. Timer is hit. So the correct answer is indeed B, Wicked Twister at Cedar Point. Can even probably like show it here on the side. Yep, here it is. So there it is in all its glory. Got it, of course, back when they were selling the pieces. So that is indeed the correct answer. So with that being said, Jace got another point. And then Mr. Cola Roaster is at 10, ties things up. And then Dad has another point. So, yeah, there you go. Alrighty, moving on to our next question. Question 19, I believe. Which of these is a chain park? Or, sorry, is not a chain park? That is the question. Which of these parks is not a chain park? Obviously, the park pictured is not a chain park, so that's why it's there. You have about 45 seconds to answer from this point, so there you go. Alrighty, let's see. A lot of people putting in similar answers up to this point, but we'll see what ends up happening with this one. You have about 15 seconds to put in your answer. And now about 10 seconds. So if you haven't yet, make sure to put in your answer. And the timer has run out. So the correct answer here is B, Seabreeze Amusement Park. Sligharan is owned by Parque Reunidos. Magic Springs is Premier Parks. Kolmarden Zoo is actually owned by I forget the name, but it's a Scandinavian parks group. They also own Furuvik and Gronalund. So, yeah, that's a chain.
I just learned something.
Yep. But the correct answer here is indeed Seabreeze. So Charged on PC gets a point. He's at 9. Mr. Cola Roaster gets another point. Now he's at 11. And Michael also has another point. So tie between Michael and Mr. Cola Roaster headed to the final round, both with 11 points. So here we go. Which of these coasters did I get a lights on cascade ride on? Timer has begun. So, also lightning on that with that one.
Will my answer not count if I put it in before you started the timer?
I think you're good.
Okay.
No, you're totally good.
I know some other people like to do that, and it sucks.
Yep. Alrighty. Alrighty. I think most people have already put in their answers. Everyone's gone with the same one. We'll see if that pays off. But let's see. How many seconds are there? About 5 seconds. So if you haven't put it in yet, make sure to. And the timer has run out. So the correct answer is C, Space Mountain at Disneyland. So Jace gets a point along with Charged on PC. And then, let's see, Mr. Cola Roaster and Michael. So we will do the tiebreakers. We have 2 of them. So, alrighty. So we have a tie for first place right now between Michael and Mr. Cola Roaster. So this can decide it. This is the first tiebreaker question. Which of these themed areas did I do an overview video for before it opened? That is the question that you were there. Unfair advantage for the last question. Yeah, yep, exactly. So, a little bit unfair. Alrighty, so that is the question. Which of these themed areas did I do an overview video for before it opened? In the case that Mr. Coloroaster and Michael get the same answer and it's correct, or well, I guess in this case, no matter what, we're going to the next round because both of them did the same answer, whether it's right or wrong. So for next round, if this happens again, it's whoever gets the answer first, the correct answer first, will win. Will be the rule for the next tiebreaker. And the timer has run out. So the correct answer is indeed C, Super Nintendo. And those of you who are not in the tiebreaker can also keep playing just to answer for fun also. But correct answer here is C, Super Nintendo World. Michael and Mr. Coloroaster both got it. So this next one will decide it all. And it's whoever gets it first. So tiebreaker 2. Which of these states was the subject of my first video of my Coasters of States series? That is the question. This is a series from a long time ago, so hence why it's the ultimate tiebreaker question. Timer has begun. Like I said, anyone can guess. Okay, and actually, we have our two answers, at least for me, so I can pretty much stop it here. Because Mr. Coloroaster, at least from my view, got it first. And, oh wait, nobody got it right. This is a problem. Oh no. So then I guess we can go based off the last one. I guess I didn't think about that. I should not have revealed it because I should have done keep guessing until you get it. So I have actually not done a California video. I've only done Nevada and Florida. Florida I did defunct coasters, Nevada I did all of them. So I guess I'm just gonna have to go based off the last question who got it first, and that's Mr. Coloroaster. So Mr. Coloroaster's the winner. I guess in that instance, that was my bad. I did not realize that I knew what the answer was, but I didn't, I just saw the letter and I'm like, oh, they both got the same one, so and assumed it was correct and it wasn't. So Mr. Coloroaster wins because he got the last one first, if that makes sense, the first tiebreaker. So Mr. Coloroaster is the champion of our ultimate roller coaster quiz. So congrats there. Sorry for that anticlimactic ending. But there you go. And then we'll move on to our next. We'll do a short Guess the Coaster before we get to our first tier list. There we go with the thing we were talking about earlier. the FaceTime thing. But we'll move on to Guess the Coaster. We're going to do 4 rounds here. And then we'll do another few in between the tier lists. So I will get my first coaster for you to guess. And I actually already have it. So guess away in the chat for Guess the Coaster. And Jace, you can make put your answers in private chat. If you want, you can put your questions either in regular or private. But you have a significant time advantage. So compared to the viewers in stream. So that's going to be the way it's going to go. This is indeed in North America. More people are sending me the fun spot social media posts. Yes, I've seen it at this point. So it is in North America, but it is not wooden. So far we have a coaster in North America. No, it does not start with Lil. It does not end with Phantom.
It was worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Is it a B&M? It is not. So, and actually, I need to do something real quick just to set up for stream stuff. So it is in the United States, so we do have a United States coaster, and it is east of the Mississippi River. It is from a European manufacturer. It is not Intamin, though. So we have east of the Mississippi U.S. coaster from a European manufacturer. It is not from Mock Rides.
I'm gonna get it eventually.
It is a Gerstlauer. It is a Gerstlauer coaster. So there you go. Not Vekoma. If that's... it is not Apple's Apple. So we have a Gerstlauer coaster east of the Mississippi. It is not Mystery Mine, and it does not have inversions. Is it a thrill ride? I would say it more leans on the family side of things, but it, I would say it's more family coaster oriented. So we have a Gerstlauer coaster east of the Mississippi that does not have inversions. It's not Fire Chaser Express, can confirm. So not Fire Chaser Express. A lot of people went to that immediately.
Including me.
Come on, there's other options. It is at a chain park. Yep, it is at a chain park. Not necessarily one that you would immediately think of as a chain park necessarily, but it is at a chain park. So Gerstlauer coaster, no inversions, east side of Mississippi at a chain park. It is not Pandemonium. Oh, but Charged on PC did get it. It is Shredder at Nickelodeon Universe.
I forgot about the spinning ones.
That's their bread and butter. Come on. But yeah, Charged on PC got it. It is indeed Shredder. So there you go. And then Jace, you can come up with the next one. Heck, I already even have my next one, so that made it easy.
I do have my next coaster, so feel free to guess away.
Alrighty. So I will put some questions in chat.
Crap, where do we start? Okay. It is not Dragonfly at Dollywood. Or was that the last one?
I think it's the last one.
Okay.
I think my question is the first one.
Okay. It is not in North America. But it does have inversions.
Okay.
So far, we don't really have a location. No, it's not in Asia. It is not in Europe. It is a thrill ride, though. So, yes, it is in Australia.
Okay. All right. Time to go down the list in private chat. But don't say, if I do get it, just say I got it, but don't say the actual coaster.
It is not that, Carrick.
If it's wrong, you can say that it's not.
It does not. Oh, wait. I misled you guys. It has no inversions.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize it didn't have any inversions until now.
Oh, well, that makes it
not
easy.
Japan. Not in South Korea. It is a European manufacturer, though. Oh, Mr. Cola Roaster got it right, at least on my screen. It is Superman Escape at Warner Bros. Movie World.
Yep.
Congratulations.
That's a good one. I can see why you were, like, confused.
I was like, it's a smaller hydraulic launch coaster, right? Nope.
Alrighty. So I already have my next coaster. So guess away in the chat for this one. And then so it'll be this, and then another round from Jason. Then we'll do our tier list, and then we'll do another short thing, then the tier list, then final Q&A. So that'll be how it goes from here. This coaster is not in Europe, so this is not a European coaster. nor is it is not by a European manufacturer. So it is in the U.S., so we do have a U.S. coaster. This is not a thrill ride. It is not a thrilling coaster. It is at a chain park, so we do have a U.S. coaster at a chain park, really. That I guess is a family coaster, I can say. It is not an Arrow. It is not an SNS. It is not in Japan. So, U.S.
Sorry,
chain park.
So far? Sorry.
U.S. chain park family coaster. That is not by a European manufacturer. It is east of the Mississippi. So, we do have that. It is not from Premier Rides. It is not Invader. It is not at a Six Flags.
Did you say it's steel?
No, I never did because it is not steel.
Sorry, didn't put it in the chat.
You're good. Nah, you're good.
I just assumed it was already said.
So
Okay.
it is a wooden family coaster at a chain park east of the Mississippi. Not paid by a European manufacturer, though. I mean, there's very few of that anyways. I can confirm it's not Bobcat. It is not in Ohio. It is not Backlot Stunt Coaster. It's not in Florida. It is not from Gravity Group. It is not Woodstock Express, and it is not Gravity Group. It is in Pennsylvania. It is not Kingdom Coaster. It is not Switchback. It is not Roarosaurus. It's not Oscar's Wacky Taxi, but it is in Pennsylvania. So, it's not Thunderbolt. So once again, family wooden coaster at a chain park in Pennsylvania. It's not Comet. It's not at Kennywood. So it is not a Hershey Park because that would not be a chain park. It is not Jackrabbit either. It is not Thunderhawk. It's not a Dorney Park. So, wow, we've gone through a lot of them. It is not at Waldemere because Waldemere is not a chain park, so it's not like Comet 3 or whatever the frick it, or Ravine, I think it is just Comet at Waldemere. I'm thinking of the Steel Kitty Coaster. It's not Ravine Flyer. It is not at Waldemere, so can say that. No, it is not Comet at Conneaut Lake Park. Or, it's not, it's Blue Streak at Conneaut. Or, it's not at Conneaut Lake Park, basically. It is not Kingdom Coaster. So, let me try again. So, Pennsylvania Chain Park, though, might not necessarily come to mind when you think of chain parks. Does the park have 3 or more coasters? Not currently, they don't. So, no. They do not. So, we're talking about a small park here. But yeah, I guess I kind of understand. It is not defunct. This is an operating coaster. So, no, you cannot use RCDB. It shouldn't be that desperate. It shouldn't get that desperate. No, it's not Skyliner at Lakemont, and it's not at Lakemont Park.
Yeah, I was about to do the other option.
There is, as far as I can think of, there's one park that has not come up yet. As far as Pennsylvania parks with wooden coasters, it is not Oscar's Wacky Taxi, but it is over 20 years old. Yeah, it is not at Knoebels.
Okay, just checking if that's a chain.
No, no shot.
As far as I know, it's not.
But it is over 20 years old. This one, it's not too obscure. I don't think so. I mean, but man, this is really getting you guys, I will say. You're really thinking. Mr. Color Roaster got it. It is Rolo Coaster, which convenient enough. Yes, roller coaster at Idlewild is the correct answer. There you go.
I always forget
Idlewild
about
is
that park.
a palace park, so there you go. Alrighty, Jace, you have the last coaster of this little guess the coaster segment.
I do have it. This one, I don't know. We'll see. It's not too obscure, no. All right, feel free to get your questions and your guesses. It is not in Europe. So yeah, I guess we don't have a location yet. It is not in Asia. So, it is. Yes, it is made by an European manufacturer. It is operating and it is steel. It is in North America. So far we got a North American steel operating coaster from a European manufacturer. Is not a German manufacturer. I can tell you that. It is in the US. So, yep. US. It does not have inversions.
Okay, let's see.
And it is not made by Vekoma.
Oh, well,
It
Mr.
is-
Cole Roaster read my mind.
It is not over 100 feet tall. In fact, no height is listed. But I can almost guarantee it's below 100 feet. It is a sit down. Is it east of the Mississippi? Yes, it is. It is east of the Mississippi. Hagrid's. I wish. No, it is not Hagrid's.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the stream, by the way.
Yeah, welcome to the stream. It is a chain park. It did not open before the year 2000. It is not Nitro. It is not in New England either. And it is not in Ohio. It is not in Pennsylvania. It is not built before 2010. It is not a Universal Park. It's not in Florida. It's not at a Six Flags park.
And it's not a Disney park?
No.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, because
Disney
it'd have to be in Florida at that point. So, yep, makes sense.
It is not in Virginia. Let me just check if it actually is east of the Mississippi. It is. All right, confirmation. Oh yeah, it is east of the Mississippi.
Alrighty.
Okay, what did I miss?
I spammed all the chains I could think of.
So in that case, it is at a Hershey Park.
Oh, let's go. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh wait, Charged on PC got it. It is Whistlepunk Chaser.
Are you Oh my god. That's hilarious. What? Oh my god. How? Literally, how?
I mean, no height was listed. Maybe caught on that. It's at a Hershey Park, or I guess they put that in before you asked Hershey.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is so
I guess
funny.
It's like European manufacturer, but not German.
Okay.
I don't
I
know.
do see. I guess. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. All right. That is crazy though. But yeah, that's definitely a
fireworks for that.
all-timer guess. Alrighty. With that being said, we're gonna move on to our first tier list. And I realized I accidentally brought up the wrong one. with I was preparing it and I'm like, oh wait, I brought up the wrong one. So let me just change that real quick.
Gotta do the coasters first.
Yep. So as voted by you, we are doing, and I can end the poll. We are doing the SoCal roller coaster tier list. This was actually the first tier list that we ever did on Coaster Time. So fun fact about that. And the reason we're doing it again is because the last time we did it, Jace had not been to Magic Mountain, so that's obviously a huge change. And then I also got to check out the San Diego parks as well. So, yep. So, there we go. Those of you in chat can also participate, but that's going to be the plan. Do we want to do it this way? Or do we want to have it full screen? What do you think, Jace?
I think it's sorry. It's probably I guess we can probably ask the viewers, but as for me, this is fine.
Sounds
I don't
all
know.
right. All right. Those of you watching, would you rather have it full screen so you can see it a little better, or would you want to have us on the side here? Because I've
Oh,
usually
wait, this
done it full screen.
sorry.
Just just to see what people want. I
It doesn't like
apologize if I
decrease in size, so
I just saw that. So uh, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but get Bruiser a ride. Thanks for checking this out and following my Instagram. Really appreciate it. Nice to have you here in chat as well. I saw you come in earlier, so happy to have you here. This side looks good as is. Okay, I think we're gonna go this route then. So these are in alphabetical order. We have, I believe it's like, we have over 30 coasters. I know that much. So we're gonna start off with Apocalypse the Ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Jace, where do you think this should go?
oh gosh. I I'd actually say A tier, because it surprised me a little, and it's definitely ranked like at the high or like definitely ranked pretty highly for me in terms of like Magic Mountain coasters. It's like it has the right amount of roughness. It has some pretty great laterals. It's kind of intense. The airtime's pretty decent as well, and it's a pretty long ride.
Alrighty. Yeah, those of you in chat also, you can put in your where you would rank these. So, and we'll include that as factor that in as part of where we rank the rides. I'm a little lower on it than a lot of people. I would still put it in B tier after the rides I got most recently when we went because it was running pretty nicely. So, kind of stuck between A and B. My dad's not that
High
big of a
B
fan
tier.
of it. He has it in C. So that would probably land it in B. If anyone else wants to put it in, whether you've ridden it or just based on how it looks, you can do whatever. Is the section after the station flyby as mez they say it is? So it
If you're
does
talking
kind.
about, sorry.
You go ahead.
Um, if you're talking about that drawn out turn at like the south side of the ride, that's actually that section was actually better than people were making it out to be because from what people were saying, it was just like a boring turn. It has laterals,
Hmm.
which I didn't expect. So that surprised me a bit.
It's a kind of bipolar element because if it's not writing that great, it's pretty boring. I'll just straight up say. But if it's running well like it was for us, then yeah, it does
It's
give
true.
some pretty
It
solid
was running
laterals.
very well.
So, um, all right. Well, chat's saying A. So wait. All right. There we go. All right. Next, we have Arctic Rescue. I just rode this for the first time last week at SeaWorld San Diego. Fun ride. And I definitely preferred front row to back row. Definitely still a, very much a family coaster, but very enjoyable. I do actually think it's okay there being there, even though Manta's already there. The straddle seating, and just the overall vibe of the ride makes it different. So, I would put this ultimately in C though, just because it's kind of it's like a high C for me. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, I'm gonna put Arctic Rescue and see. I don't know if that many people have ridden, so
It's a very new ride.
yeah, I don't know that we're gonna get a. If other people have thoughts on that, they can go for it. But I think because of how new it is, we'll just kind of leave it in C until otherwise, so we can move on to Batman the Ride, Six Flags Magic Mountain. Jason can go for first for this one as well.
I would actually also put it in an A tier. It's out of the three B&M inverts I've ridden, it's like by far the most intense one. um, it was like I wish it had like a few other forces. I enjoyed the corkscrews because it provided whip. And I guess the zero G roll too, because of the whip it provided. Um, but like, I mean, it's smooth. It's yeah, super forceful.
Yeah, it's really intense. It's not the best Batman clone I've ridden. It's 2 out of 3 of the ones I've done, just because, I mean, the Over Georgia one is insane, but this was definitely quite a bit better than the Over Texas version, in my experience. This would be kind of fringe between B and A for me, but especially now that we have Apocalypse in A, which I do have Batman over it, I'm definitely cool with putting this in A. Charged on PC, that says that um, based on his experience. That Great Adventure, he'd put an A. We have a B. I think, yeah, it'll be an A. Order doesn't really matter so much. But I think it was consensus was a little higher, so I'll just put it there just for the sake of it. But yeah. Alrighty, next we have Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I'll handle this one first. I'm gonna put this in B tier. I think it's the best mine train I've done easily. Well, I'll not put it quite in there yet, but best mine train I've done, has some legitimately fun pops of airtime at points. Theming is fantastic. It has some good zip at points as well. I mean, I think it's just a really fun overall ride. The night firework rides I got on it were quite good too. So, yeah, Big Thunder. I would put it in B. Jace, where do you land on it?
Well, I don't know. Because I'm sort of trying to compare it to like what I'd predict Arctic Rescue to be like. It definitely has much more theming than Arctic Rescue. So from that point of view, that easily beats Arctic Rescue. But I would imagine Arctic Rescue would be a little more intense than it. Big Thunder Mountain is a fun ride. It's just like um I don't know. It doesn't really provide too much forces, but that's okay. This ride doesn't need it or anything. I would say high C tier.
Alrighty, so we have my dad says A. Charge on PC has it high C low B. I think that, and I have it in B. I think that's gonna place it in B tier.
It's very
I
good.
definitely it's having ridden these two. I have Big Thunder like probably like 30, maybe 40 spots higher than Arctic Rescue. So, but then I have Big Thunder above a decent chunk of like large scale coasters, even B&Ms and such. So,
I already know where I'm ranking the next coaster.
oh, yeah, Coast Rider at Knott's Berry Farm, the Wild Mouse, not the wooden coaster. F tier.
Yep, F tier.
We'll see if anyone argues, but truly awful ride. Definitely the worst coaster on this list. Complete garbage. Charge on PC has it in D. Honestly, if you can get past the shin guards, it's a D tier ride probably.
I'd imagine if you're like younger or like less tall, then you probably enjoy this better. Personally, for me, the shins were really digging into my shins. Last time I rode it was in 2018, and like I originally didn't want to ride it again, but I had my little brother with me. I'm like, oh, I should do rides he would enjoy. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go on it.
Yeah, it sucks. Even without the shin guards, it's still like a well below average wild mouse. So because of
The
the
layout honestly is
braking,
not too bad.
it's the
I
braking
like it
though.
as a wild mouse layout, especially because like the first drop at the beginning. Um, but the shin guards significantly ruin it for me.
Yeah, that and as I was trying to say, it's braked a lot, which makes it even worse because of the shin guards. So yeah, not a fan at all, and it's gonna stay an F. I don't know where Bisbee's spiral airship would be because I don't even have a comparable experience. Next we have Electric Eel. This actually ended up being my favorite coaster at SeaWorld San Diego. So I already was a big fan of Superman Ultimate Flight, so not too big of a surprise. I would put this in B tier. It'd be a high B tier, but that's where I would put it. We'll see what chat says on this one.
I would predict a B tier. Or, ooh.
Here's the thing. So this one does have comfort collars, but I did write it in back row. It really was not actually that noticeable or detrimental to the ride experience. I rode twice in the back row, which, by the way, this one has the third car, so the back row is actually insane on this one. I actually do have it ranked higher than Superman Ultimate Flight for that reason, even though that one just has lap bars. The back row on this one is just that crazy. Charge on PC would put it at C. All right, I think we can. Guess I would put it in low B, so we can stick it there. It's a skyrocket too, so which I do really enjoy those, but fair enough. Next we have really Emperor. Fun. Next we have Emperor. I just realized we have not that many coasters that you have not ridden, but they're like all back to back, so that's just kind of odd how that because they're in alphabetical order. Next we have Emperor. This one I would also put in B tier. Really fun ride. Those of you who've watched the channel know I was not that big of a fan of the first dive coaster I did, Valraven. I am happy to say that Emperor is a much better ride, and I have great experience on it compared to Valraven. Drops really good. Inversions have some decent hang time and are also pretty forceful, so that's great. The view from the top is actually insane. It's like one of the best views you can get on any coaster, as you're staring like straight into the ocean and over the palm trees, the park, and some other hotels, and like kind of the marina in the area. It's a great view, so definitely also memorable in that aspect, but a fun ride overall. I'd put this in B. Charge on PC says B or A. Probably would then be a high B, so I think we'll stick it there. Next we have Full Throttle. Jace, you go first for this one.
Ooh. I'd say like low A or high B. I'll probably lean towards low A. It's like it's definitely not the most intense ride ever. But it was still really fun. The first loop, of course, has like insane hang time, like even more than I expected. And yeah, the backwards section was really fun. The drop was pretty all right because the trims kind of hampered it, but it's not like the worst drop in the world. Still a pretty good drop, and it's like butter smooth though. So yeah, I'd say low A tier.
Considering how it's fallen, I think I would have had it like low A tier, but like just with how the coasters here are, I do have it ranked higher than these two, so I would definitely say A tier. I think everyone's kind of in agreement there, so I think it's gonna stick in, and everyone seems to be pretty agreed on this one, so we'll stick it there. Yeah, alrighty. So next we have Ghost Rider, which is an easy S, at least for me personally.
I would put an S as well.
Yeah. Insane ride, awesome airtime, insane laterals, some of the best laterals you're going to get on any wooden coaster. Super long ride, night rides are especially great on this one. Just overall, an incredible ride. Definitely prefer the second half compared to the first, but first half is still pretty good. So that's Ghost Rider. Jace, your thoughts?
Yep. Airtime's pretty good. Laterals are great. It's a super long ride. That's what I like most about it. Is that like It feels like it never ends, which is great. But it still has like some little breaks in the ride, just in case it is too intense for some. Overall, very well paced ride, I think.
Yep, for sure. Well, it kind of depends. Darien, that's why the night rides it feels even crazier because it's running faster, and those like little sections that you're talking about, they don't really feel like they're there as much. So I like it even better then. But still, in any case, a phenomenal ride. So, um, yeah. Next, we have Giant Dipper at Belmont Park, which I just rode. It does not have the best of reputations, but I did ride it, and it was actually pretty fun. It actually got retracked a few months ago. A lot of people don't know, or not even. It was like less than a month ago, like beginning of March. They completed a retrack, and it actually has some pretty solid airtime moments. Actually, the best moment is heading into the brake run. You get literally ejected, which is crazy. It also has a fun tunnel section, a few solid lateral moments. Not every element hits just because of the way the layout was profiled, and some of the elements are a little too high for the ride zone good. I only got the one ride in front row, but I would put it in C tier, like a high C tier. I would have it over Arctic Rescue, but that's where I have it. We'll see if anyone else has anything on this one. This Giant Dipper is nowhere near as good as Santa Cruz, but if you're going to SeaWorld, I definitely at this point would recommend checking out this ride. So that's where I stand on it. There are probably not too many people have ridden this one, so I guess we can move on. Next we have Gold Rusher. Jace, where would you put this?
Ooh, based on the rides ranked here so far, I'd say D tier. Not like it's a super horrible ride. It's actually pretty fun. But I'd say like Giant Dipper and Arctic Rescue would be a decent bit better than Gold Rusher.
I'd still probably have this in like really low C because it's still kind of in range of these, and I Gold Rusher is one of my preferred mine trains, but D tier is definitely fair, especially as you said, like in consideration of how the board has fallen. I definitely can understand it. So I'm at C, you're at D, maybe low C. Uh, Frontier Coaster says C, so we'll put it in low C, definitely behind these other ones, but it's
Sure.
still there. Next we have another personal C tier ride for me, and that's Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Um,
Goliath.
you just after having it at your home park for so long, you just kind of learn to kind of have fun with it, even though it's I mean, the second half is really intense. I'll give it that. The mid course, if you're in the front, that lateral hang time's pretty cool. Um,
Can confirm that.
uh, Outside of that, I don't really have much else to say. It's like fine. It's not like a bad ride, but it's just it's not like a personal favorite. So I'd have it in like kind of honestly kind of lower C, but that's where I'm at with it.
I would say C tier too. I guess one thing to note, the first turn on that ride actually has some laterals. So it's like
Hmm.
kind of a cool sensation because you're so high up the ground. So like if you're when you're getting pushed to the side, that's kind of cool. But oh my gosh, the operations. I wish that would get improved. But hey, if it's like attracting the general public away from the good rides, then I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Let's see. So people are between C and D. I think it ultimately will end up in like low C, like probably right around here. So, um,
I guess the only
but
thing is Six Flags Magic Mountain really would benefit from like a really elite hyper coaster,
hmm
and they wouldn't be able to have that because Goliath exists.
Hey, don't say that. They could do Hershey Park logic.
Oh yeah, they could do Hershey Park Logic. You're right.
Oh, and while we're having a run on pretty inconsequential rides, I would say, because next we have Goofy's Sky School. I'd definitely put this in a hard D tier. Personally, it's a little better themed than your average Wild Mouse, but it's also braked pretty hard, so I would put it in D.
Based on this ranking so far, I would also say D, but I definitely enjoyed this one more than I expected. It is, out of the three wild mice I've ridden, it's my favorite. Mostly because of the theming. It's a very fun ride, I'd say. Uh, Definitely enjoyable. Yeah, I would ride it again.
Yep. I mean, unless it was like a really good Wild Mouse, I think at this point, like almost anyone would be in D, unless you have terrible restraints or something.
It's a wild mouse after all.
Yeah, so I think everyone's kind of in agreement there, so we'll keep it there. Next, we got Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm. Jace, you can go first for this one.
I would say A tier for this one. Some people might disagree, but the I love the drop on hang time. Definitely has a cool sensation. Uh, it's definitely a little rattly. Personally, that didn't bother me, but it might bother some. It has like a great mix of forces. And is uh, I guess if for like the type of ride it is, the pacing is good. And the airtime moment by the entrance, very surprising, very strong.
I would, looking at this list, I actually would be comfortable having it in like high B tier, because I do definitely have it ranked under the 3 and A. Um, but so I would personally have it in B. Charged on PC also says B, so we'll see if anyone else comes in. But you might not be getting quite your wish with that one.
Dang it.
It'll be at least it'll be in high B though. It'll be like the highest one, which I think is fair. That's actually funny that the two dive coasters slot in right next to each other. I will say I do prefer Hang Time over Emperor, so and over these other B tier, and then Frontier Coaster said B tier. Okay, so we're gonna stick it there. So
So it's your best dive coaster you've ridden. That's what I'm hearing,
yeah,
right?
yep, it is.
I'll take that.
Next we have Incredicoaster, formerly California Screamin'. Jace, your thoughts on it?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Hmm. Low B or high C?
Dang, all
Uh,
right.
I would definitely say B tier if it was California Screamin',
Mm-hmm.
because that soundtrack alone makes it B tier at least. Now that it's in Incredicoaster, I wouldn't mind like a high C tier.
I would still have it in B tier, because like if we were going off of rides I had, I do have it lower than say Electric Eel or and Hang Time, but I do have it above Big Thunder and Emperor, so very middle of the road at this point. Like with how this has fallen, it would definitely be in B for me. So and you have
Definitely
it
fine
kind
with
of in
that.
a C. So you're, I think we can probably have it a little lower. We'll see if anyone else comes in with anything, but we'll probably have it at like the low end of B tier,
I would
which
also
is
put in
fair.
B because of the sentimental value it has for me. It is, like many people, it was my first inverting roller coaster.
Yep, that's totally fair. Oh, and by the way, Montezuma won't be on here because it we don't know what it's gonna be like with the new experience. So I decided to leave it off. We already had a million coasters on here anyway, so I was like, okay, probably can leave that one off. Next we have Jaguar. I will put this in D tier, but I will note that I have it like way above Goofy's Sky School, and I do enjoy it personally. It's just the way it's fallen. It definitely, it probably would be in D tier anyways, but yeah, I think it's like a pretty safe D tier ride.
Compared to other family coasters I've ridden, I'd say Jaguar is definitely more dated. It feels like, uh, personally, there's too many like shallow straight sections. I get they had to work with a very specific layout or a specific plot of land, but still I think they could have made the ride a little more exciting. It also could be a little smoother. It's definitely a unique ride. That's what I really like about it. But yeah, I'd say D tier at best.
Yep. And Frontier Coaster says C tier, so it'll definitely be above Goofy's just because of that. But um, yeah. Next we have Journey to Atlantis, which this one's an interesting one to rank because I've still not ridden it as an enthusiast. It was open, but it was like in the 50s to the 60s, so I decided not to ride it. It has been like repainted and rethemed since I last rode it. I also don't have the best memory of it, but I do know it would rank a lot lower than say the Orlando version, which I've done recently. Um, I think I would still be willing to put it in like really low C tier, if that makes sense. Just because it like seems solid otherwise. And I don't know that I could quite put it in D tier, but yeah, that's about as high as I'm gonna go for it. So, and I think that's so the SeaWorld coaster. Okay, this is the last SeaWorld coaster. It's so weird that they're like back to back. But alphabetical order, I guess. Next is Manta. So it's still good. It's still my second favorite coaster at the park. So I do have it above Emperor for those wondering. But man, I will admit I was a little disappointed. It was not quite as good as I remembered. Still very good family coaster though. And I would have it over Emperor and Big Thunder. So for that reason, I would personally still say B tier. It is a mock multi-launch coaster of very good quality, even if it's more family oriented. So still has some pretty good airtime moments. And the tunnel scene is cool, of course. That it has pre first launch. But and it's there's some moments that even have a little bit of whippiness too. So for a family coaster, so that's nice. So B tier, I'll just kind of slot it in here unless people have anything else to say on it. So yeah, I think that'll be that. Next, we have Matterhorn bobsleds. I did not split them up, even though I would actually have a tier difference between the two sides. But Jace, I'll let you take this one first.
I'd say C tier. It's definitely a fun ride. Maybe a little jerky at times, but it's the world's first steel coaster. Theming is great on it. But uh, you know, there's definitely been, or the family coaster's definitely been improved since it opened.
That's fair. And then, yeah, for me personally, so fun. I would have the Fantasyland side in C. I would agree there. But the Tomorrowland side, on the other hand, that's where I would have it in B tier. I have a significant difference in the rankings because it's just a little more wilder. You get some better laterals, and then it has that one insane drop under the bridge. So, and it just has the airtime just in general is better on the Tomorrowland side. So I'd have it in B. You have it in C. Dad says B tier, so it might also be another low B tier.
Your dad basically summed up my thoughts on it.
Yeah, but it's so fun. And it's like there's not really much else like it, just because of the seating setup and it being, of course, the first steel tubular track coaster. So I think we'll put it there. Alrighty. Next we got New Revolution. Jace, you can go first with this one.
Oh gosh. Uh I'd probably say like B tier,
Oh
maybe high
wow.
C tier,
Okay.
or I'd say high C tier, yeah. It's a fun ride. I love the length of it. Vertical Loop's pretty fun. But uh, you know, it's not too intense, but it definitely uses terrain well too. So I'd say high C tier.
I would definitely put this in C tier as well. Not like necessarily high or low, just for me personally, just straight up C tier. it very much feels like a very C tier ride to me. Obviously, classic coaster. The first to have first modern coaster to have a vertical loop. And then the terrain usage, as you mentioned, is really good. It's still a fun ride, but I mean, of course, there's a lot better coasters at the park and just in general now, but you still got to appreciate it as a classic. It's a fun ride to check out. So, C tier. So I think you said a little higher, so even, um, we can even put it here, I guess.
Best thing is no VR and no over the shoulder restraints now.
Yep. There you go. So personally, I have these three above Revolution, but I think that's a fair ranking. Next, we have Ninja, which I would put in high C personally. I think it's a really, really fun family coaster. The swinging is awesome. The terrain usage, once again, on this one is great. And so overall, I mean, for as far as family coasters go, yes, it's an arrow suspended, but it definitely is a little more intense, I would say, and has a wild side to it. So, high C, I would say.
I would also say high C. My first and only suspended coaster, and yeah, it was like more intense than I thought. Super fun ride. And it's pretty smooth as well. It was kind of weird. We rode it when it was like a two-person Zen ride, basically. Or there was probably like one other person on on our train, but
There was very few, if there was
Yeah.
very few, if any, people. So,
we rode it first in the morning. So
after Superman wasn't open. So,
yeah,
yeah.
and I'd figure like most people probably wouldn't go to Ninjas the first ride.
Frontier Coasters says like lower C, so we'll just kind of smack it around here, I think. Yeah. All right. Next,
I
we have
sort of
Pony.
think like the ride just like ends before the lift hill at the end.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a definite criticism because it's just kind of like it's kind of lame that it just lifts you back up and you're back in the station. But
I don't mind it too much.
yeah, at least it's not Adventure Express where you actually think it might lead because you kind of can tell it's toward the end. Whereas Adventure Express like hypes it up like the lift hill as if something's gonna happen. It's like little dip back into the station. It's like that's pretty crazy. My dad actually has it in B, so actually, I think that probably gives it the highest up here. So we'll do
Does
that.
get great views.
Yeah, it does. Next we have Pony Express. This would I'm okay with either like a really low C or a high or like a D. Honestly, nah. I think I can go with D.
I'd go with D as well.
Yeah.
It's a fun ride when you're actually going through the layout. It is pretty short, and the back restraint definitely tightens on you throughout the ride. So when you get to the brakes, at least when I uh, first or rode it first and only time, uh, it was like we were waiting on the brake run for like a decent bit, and it was difficult to breathe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point because having done the intimate straddle, way better restraints and setup compared to the Zamperil. Because it's just basically it's a sort of lap bar thing. You're just kind of in a slightly different seating position. So yeah, I think for that, comparing it to that, my dad has it in B. I know he does like it.
My mom loves Pony Express too, so
I know. Yeah. All right. Fine. So I guess we can put it
you
like
can even it out at C.
end of C. Weird restraints provide an involuntary core workout. That's fair. All right. Next, we got Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Studios Hollywood. This one's interesting in terms of. I'm okay with either low B or high C for this one personally. For the Hollywood
I'm fine with high
version.
C.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
then yeah.
Hollywood. Keep in
Not
mind.
Orlando. Orlando's would be an A. But Yeah, yeah, I see. If anyone disagrees or has any other opinions, let us know. But I think that's how we're gonna go with that one. So, yeah. Alrighty. So, it's a fun ride, fun fun launch sections. The bug section is really memorable because
Yep.
not everyone likes it. That this is the one thing that it has over the Orlando version because the bug
Really?
part there it doesn't really do much. It's just like kind of blowing air a little bit. This thing like legit feels like there are like bugs crawling on your legs. So that's the one thing I'll give it over the Orlando version. But about everything else, yeah, the Orlando version's better. But good theming, fun ride overall. Um,
Often
but
over that bug section is often overlooked.
yep. Um, let's see. Next, we're gonna do Riddler's Revenge at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Oh man, this I
High B.
yeah, yeah, I think that's fair. Um, yeah, I think that's fine. Yep, we can do high B. I think that's just about where I'd have it in comparison to these other rides. So, yeah, high B I think is fair there. We'll see if anyone else has anything to say on it.
It's quite forceful of a ride, and that one airtime moment definitely surprised me. Uh, Maybe it's a little rattly, but that's I'm just being picky right there. And I did manage to get a comfortable standing position,
Mm-hmm.
so keep that in mind.
Yep. It's very forceful. It's a lot better than the other B&M's looper that is coming up here in a bit. Um, and yeah, as you said, the airtime hill it is always like surprising like how actually solid it is, especially being in standing position. At least before I was spoiled with pipeline, but it still is a pretty cool moment. So yeah, definitely high B. I think I do have it above all these rides in B tier, so or most of them anyways. So yeah. Alrighty, next we have Santa Monica West Coaster. Oh man. I mean, on one hand, I do have it above a few of these C tier coasters, but on the other it's like I don't know. Um I do enjoy it, but I think for the sake of this, I'm okay with putting it in high D tier. It's definitely better than these. Um, and actually, I'm even more okay with it because my most recent rides were not as good as I remembered. So, yeah, I'm gonna slot it in there. We'll see if anyone else disagrees. It has great views. There's a few nice airtime moments. I feel bad having it under certain ones, but I think we need to have some rides in D tier, and this is definitely one of the ones that I can think of would be there. So, I'd be okay with being there. So, I think that's fair there. So I think we'll just leave it at that. Next we have Scream. You can go first for this one. This one's gonna be fun.
I'd probably put in low C. It's like I'd probably have like a decent bit of the C tier rides ranked above it, but I mean, it's still a thrill coaster. It has inversions. It has a decent drop. It's a pretty long ride, but it's pretty forceless, and it has a decent rattle. Not enough to like give me a headache or head banging, but it exists, and definitely not the best setting.
You know what? This is not where I would have it like there are some coasters I do have above, but I'm gonna say high D tier. Because like it's just it's rattly. It like has inversions that on paper it's like, oh wow, those elements. I mean, the zero G roll, like some of the elements, it's like okay, they should be pretty good, and then they're not. They're like really weak. I mean, it has give it the title for weakest B and M zero G roll. of any of them, like easily. Does not have the whip of the others, and just the layout in general. Just I it does not run with the seemingly right pace to hit the inversions correctly or something. It lacks the intensity of most of the other ones.
It seems
So
like they perfectly designed every inversion so that you have exactly 1G. So it's like
something
you're
like that.
on the ground, just sitting on the ground.
It's really not that forceful. So, but we'll put in low C. I think we'll just do that. Even though, unless someone convinces us to put it lower, I think it's fair. So,
After all, it is a thrill coaster though. So
yep.
I don't know.
Our next we got Sierra Sidewinder. Um, this is where do you say?
Oh. Uh, Based on this ranking, C tier. Uh,
Okay,
Probably high C tier though.
I agree.
It's
I agree.
definitely a great family coaster.
I definitely agree. I think it's like pretty high C tier. Um, so we'll see what other people say. We're both in agreement in high C tier, so we let's see. I think yeah, because no one said it. This is like a B tier ride, so we'll put it here because I remember these two people said it was B tier. So all right,
Don't let this ride's aesthetics fool you. It is actually pretty intense.
yeah, no, it can be pretty crazy. I mean, if you get an off balance car, it especially is insane. Even if you don't, it's still the turns will pull some pretty good G's. So and the spinning is pretty hectic on this one. So yeah. Next we got Silver Bullet. I would put it in B tier personally. Of this bunch, I definitely think it slots right into B tier. So, what do you think?
Yeah, B tier for me as well. It's a fun ride. Inversions could be a little better, but it's overall paced pretty well.
Yeah, it's so Silver Bullet. The drop is obviously just a gradual decline, which is why a lot of people, kind of rip on it. But outside of that, I think the layout is pretty good. I've gotten some really good rides on it when it's running well. So I think the inversions are quite good. And then actually one of the highlight moments of the ride is like that weird, like kind of not quite inverting, but kind of overbank turn. That's a really good moment on Silver Bullet that you can't really find on the other inverts. So,
That's true.
um,
Yeah,
it,
does have some
I
heat time.
yeah, I do give it some nice props there. So, yeah, smack dab middle of B tier. Next we have Space Mountain at Disneyland. Um, oh boy, we're gonna have differences on this one. I'm gonna go first. I would have this in A tier, like honestly, pretty easily. I have it above all these, so I can say that. Um, look, I get it. It's not like the most insane ride or anything, but like the soundtrack is a 10 out of 10. The atmosphere is also incredible. You do feel like you're whizzing around in space, at least in my opinion. Um, and I mean, it is quite intense. And you feel like you're traveling a lot faster than you actually are. There's even a few solid airtime dips. Overall, I think it's just a really, really good ride. Um, the Walt Disney World one isn't that far from S. That's a pretty different ride. So, but I would say A tier for Space Mountain. But I know you definitely have a different opinion on it.
I
So,
would say B tier. It's like
okay.
not ranked totally low. It like don't get me wrong, it is a very enjoyable ride. I would actually agree with most of the stuff Carrick said. You definitely feel faster than you're actually going. I think it's like listed to only go 30 miles per hour,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, has some surprising pops of airtime too. But I would say it definitely depends on where you sit. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's like two cars on the train. If you sit in the first three rows, uh, your experience will probably be a little more mild versus if you ride in like the back. What just happened?
Mm-hmm. That it
Whereas if
did
you
the
ride
thing
in the
again.
the back 3 rows, it'll definitely feel a little more intense. Because I'd say my rides on Space Mountain were like off and on. Like it was a pattern. First ride ever, way more intense than I expected. Second ride, pretty good. Third ride, way more intense than I expected. Fourth, it's a cycle with me. I don't know. But yeah, I'd say B tier.
Yeah, that's fair. I've gotten to the last two times I've been, I've gotten to ride it. At least 4 times in both experiences. I think once was 4 times, the other was 6 times. So, got a good feel, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So, see, my dad says this, I said A, you said B. Guess that puts it
I
in
guess
like
A.
low A. Or yeah, we'll fine. I think that's fair. All right. Next we have Superman Escape from Krypton.
Ooh,
Definite C tier for me.
I would say B
So,
tier.
okay, you would have it in B tier? Okay.
Yeah. Even though it's like not the longest ride in the world, I haven't ridden too many coasters that go 100 miles per hour. So that in itself makes the ride like real like makes me really like the ride. Whatchamacall. We rode it. I also rode in the front row. And it was forward. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I've never ridden stuff like Top Thrill Dragster, King the Ka. But I would imagine that launch, or at least the speed, would feel like those rides.
Yeah, it's like a light version of those launches basically. If it's longer, it's got a it's good. That's the one good thing about it is the launch has a really nice duration, which I like. Uh, but and I personally I do think backwards is better between the two having done both. But
I would imagine backwards is better.
um, Escape from Krypton is S tier for decibel levels at least. Yeah, that's for sure. Um, all right,
Because
my
I've
dad
only
also
ridden
has it
it
in B.
forward. And uh, because of that, like when you shoot up, the sun's most likely gonna be in your face, so you can't even appreciate how high you are because you're probably gonna close your eyes.
Yep. So someone else said B, so we're gonna put it in B tier. So there we go. Next we have Tatsu at Magic Mountain. With the way it's fallen, it's weird because definitely have it over these in A tier. But would I say it's a true S? In most circumstances, no. But I think in this circumstance, I will say it's an S tier. So
Yeah, probably on the low side of S tier for me, but
definitely, yeah.
I mean, I'm actually making a review for this coaster right now, but basically, it's like it really feels like you're flying on this ride. Gloss smooth, pretzel loop is insane. Um, just wish the rest of the ride was a little more intense, but that's like a minor nitpick.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, that uh, that it is. I mean, just a great ride in general. The pretzel loop, of course. I mean, man, what an element. I mean, that is absolutely insane. The terrain usage is great too. Um, Overall, just a really fun ride for sure. Um, a mix of super intense elements, but it still has some level of grace, not quite to the extent of like the other flying coasters perhaps, but still has it in there, so really fun ride. So yep, it's gonna go in S then. Next we have Technic Coaster, Wild Mouse Coaster. I'm just gonna put it in D and move on. Yeah, it's another Legoland Wild Mouse. I just am like I put the other Wild Mouse in here, so I guess this one goes in. I do like it over the other two because it's at least comfortable in my opinion. So that's about as much as I'm gonna give it. I guess it's still not like a super crazy Wild Mouse, but it's enjoyable for what it is. So there we go. Next we have Twisted Colossus. Jason can go with this one.
That's easily an S tier for me.
Yeah, same.
It is in my top two. I guess my Instagram bio sort of gives away which one I like more at Magic Mountain,
Mm-hmm.
but oh my gosh, this ride, has the best airtime I've experienced on a coaster. Inversions were great. It's smooth too. Um, and it's pretty long as well. Overall, great ride. It is the most times I ever rode a coaster, like overall, at 6.
Yep. There you go.
So, and that's including coasters that I've ridden because I visited parks multiple times. Yet,
Hmm.
Twisted Colossus, I rode more.
Yep. That was the most I'd ever done in like basically the same span of visits, basically. For Twisted Colossus, so that was definitely quite good. Was running quite well, even if it wasn't quite dueling. Of course, I don't think it makes. There's this narrative that like it needs to duel to be like an upper tier RMC. I think that's BS. Personally, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Like, yes, it's obviously cool when it's dueling, but like some people are I just can't get on board with the idea that if it's not doing it's a lower tier RMC and if it is doing it's an upper like I just think that's crazy.
See, for
Um
me, I sort of went in with the expectation that it wasn't gonna duel. So that didn't really affect my point of view of the ride. Um, we got an almost duel once, I will say that, but
mhm.
uh, that's the most of it. But it didn't really affect my opinion of it.
Yeah. I mean, the airtime strength is still incredible. The variety of elements, especially compared to some other RMCs, I would say, is quite good on this one. Definitely has good variety with the elements. And yeah, just overall a fantastic ride. Next, we have Viper, also at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I realize every coaster left is from there except for the last one. Um, but Viper, I would put in B tier personally with the ones we have here. What would you say, Jace?
Oh gosh. Okay. Based on the ones in there, yeah, B tier.
All
Um,
right.
it's I guess I'm like on the taller side, so I actually fit pretty comfortably in those trains. So I never experienced any like headbanging. The ride was pretty smooth. Maybe not the
Mm-hmm.
smoothest, of course, but nah, it was more intense than I expected. And yeah, it was a surprise for me.
Yeah. The first half or first portion is like really intense, and then the like last few elements are it's taken a little more slowly because the pacing isn't quite as strong. But you actually get a little bit of hang time on some of the inversions because of that. So it's a well-rounded ride, I would say, in that sense. Not the smoothest thing ever, but um, I've definitely grown to be much more of a fan of it than I initially was. So um, yeah, and it looks like based off chat, it's like B minus C plus, so maybe a little bit lower, but it's in B tier. All right, next we have West Coast Racers. I would also personally put this, I would say high B tier, but still B tier ultimately. So,
I would say B tier, not high B tier. It's a very fun ride. Uh, it's kind of like my thoughts on Full Throttle, where it's like it's not the most intense ride in the world, but it's butter smooth and it's very fun. Um, I would like to ride it without comfort colors, if
yeah,
that's
the
at all
comfort colors
possible.
do affect this one. Yep.
Yes. Mostly on one element though. It's on the very first element
The high
because
five. Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of whip on it. So like the train like because of inertia, the comfort cars are gonna
Yep.
hit your neck. They're not like the most fitting restraints, I guess you could say. So like instead of like for me, instead of going like right on my shoulders, they were like sort of hovering above my shoulders. So more prone to neck banging.
Yeah, I wait, yeah, this is B. So, yeah, we'll just stick it right in there. Um I agree. It's a shame. The high five is the best element, but you get neck banged
That is
hard,
true.
which
Besides a neck
sucks.
banging, it is the best element.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good airtime. The inversions are solid. Positive
Launches are
G-step
eh.
points are pretty good. Yeah, the launches are, they're okay. The pit stop also is not great, depending on how either long the train takes or if the AC is not working, like it has been. Not in our instance, it wasn't that bad, but I've had worse instances. So, um, yeah, but B tier for West Coast racers. Um, and then next we have Wonder Woman. Flight of Courage. I keep wanting to say Golden Lasso, but obviously not. It's Flight of Courage. Where do you have it?
Ooh. Um. So for me, Wonder Woman is very, very close to Tatsu. So from that point of view, I would put it in S, but
I
actually,
I'm like really close between those. It's like because I have it a fair bit above these A tier coasters. Well, actually, except for one. I forget that I do have Space Mountain ranked higher, but outside of that, um,
Charge on PC, if Charge on PC says S tier, I would say S tier as well.
I'd be like very high A tier. But yeah, we can put in this.
It's an RMC.
Yep. Well, New Texas Giant would not be an S tier coaster if it was on here. I would just say that much, but it's not, thankfully. So, New Texas Giant's still a great ride, and I'm happy it exists. But in terms of ride quality, I definitely think it's far below the other RMCs I've done. Anyways, next we have X2, easy S. I mean, top of S probably. We'll see what other people say, but for X2, top of S here.
Yep. Yeah. Uh X2 was like turned out to be, or I initially went in going like, ooh, am I gonna like X2? Am I gonna not? Because it's like in some ways it's not the type of ride I would enjoy. Turns out I like it much more than I expected. We'll just say that.
Yeah, it yeah, X2 is absolutely phenomenal ride. You can't find anything else like it in North America, at least. My favorite coaster in all of California, so of course, huge fan of it. So, yeah, fantastic ride, super disorienting, and I mean that first drop especially is just absurd. But there's other crazy elements as well. But that first drop for me personally, just always is like just so insane. But next we have Accelerator, which curiously enough, I do have it over Wonder Woman, but I'm kind of do I really want there to be more S and A tier coasters? No, and I'm okay with putting Accelerator in high A tier, so I would say high A for that reason. Um,
I would go high A as well. Uh,
okay.
Obviously, it's the best launch I've ridden. I wish it were longer, and or I guess I wish it did better elements after the drop. Like maybe make the turns a little more intense. Maybe add some more airtime in there, stuff like that. Uh, but it's a very good ride. Besides that,
All right. Yep. So that's our tier list. We have a little new rule in here at the end of each one. So both me and Jace have two moves we can make. We can either use it on the same coaster or on different ones. We can't do each other. So if one of us moves a coaster, we can like just move it up or down a rank basically, or use both moves to move a coaster up to or down to. Looking at this list, Jace, I'll let you go first if there's any specific coaster you would like to move.
oh gosh. This might be pretty unpopular, but I would actually your cursor's right over it. I
Yeah,
would
I
actually
kind of
move hang
figured.
time up to A tier. uh,
Alrighty.
because I have hang time very closely ranked with accelerator.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, it's a very enjoyable ride. As for my second move, mm, oh gosh, I don't know. Should we do like one each?
Yeah, I think we'll
Take
all.
turn.
Well, but maybe I might drag 1, 2 up. I don't think so though. Just looking at this list. Um,
Mm.
just for the memes, I'm gonna take Scream down to D tier. So that's my first move. So you can go next.
uh, ooh. Mm. Oh my gosh. Why is this difficult? I
I'm
would
actually mostly
say,
happy with this,
yeah.
which is why it's making it hard.
Um, I guess what I would do, it's between. I want to bump one coaster out of B tier.
Okay.
I'm between two.
Okay.
Mm, how about? Oh gosh. Okay, this might be pretty unpopular. I'm gonna move Matterhorn to C tier. High C tier
Okay.
though.
Okay. That's
Uh,
fair.
it's definitely a very unique ride, but objectively, I'd say a lot of the rides in B tier are better than it.
Yeah. And actually, on that note, I'm also thinking of moving a B tier ride down to C tier. You probably see which one I have the cursor over.
Damn.
We're gonna put Superman in C. And hey, I actually okay the Matterhorn thing, but outside of that, I mean, hang time. I at least it would be high. I think it's like one of the higher ones of the B tier, so I'm actually okay with that being an A. Matterhorn, that kind of hurts a bit, but I'm just gonna pretend that's Fantasyland side, and then I can justify it. But I actually I like how this came out. All right, so I think that's gonna be our SoCal tier list. That went a little decent bit longer than I expected. So actually, if you're okay with it, I think we're gonna roll into the next tier list.
That's fine with me.
So we'll do that. So we'll roll into the next tier list, which is going to be the fast food tier list. So, of course, classic. This is another ultimate one. We're bringing back all the ones that we did in the first stream, plus the ones that I did with my brother in the second one, and some newcomers. So that is going to be the plan there. Those of you in chat, once again, can contribute. These are also in alphabetical order. So, with that being said, let's get started. Starting with Arby's.
I would say B tier. I haven't eaten there in quite a while, but it was pretty good. I had just chicken nuggets and fries, but I liked it.
Now, if this one's pretty polarizing because the last stream I actually ended up having it in F tier. Based personally, and honestly, I'm going to stick with that opinion. I would have it in D tier anyways, but just for the memes, I had it in F. But I'm going to say F tier. So Charge on PC says B or C, so we'll say B. So
Or I
like
guess
we
C, if that sort of averages it out a
that
little better.
would yeah. So for now, it'll stick in C. Well, depending if anyone else's opinion on Arby's, let us know. But for now, we'll do that. If already an early candidate for one to move up or down, I'll just say that much. For me personally, but we'll see. Next, we have Burger King. What a run! At least for me personally, I'd have this in F tier.
I
Personally,
would say C
also.
tier. Uh, I have their chicken sandwiches usually. It's pretty good. Their fries are really good though. C tier overall.
Alrighty. So then that would put it in D tier. The last time I had a burger, it just was really not that good. I used to actually like Burger King when I was like really little. Like I enjoyed it. It wasn't like one of my favorite places. I'd have the chicken. So maybe I just need to go back to that well. But man, I cannot. The burgers are not my thing. Already.
They're all right.
Yeah. Next we have Carl's Jr. For me, C tier. I haven't had it in a while. I think their burgers are like fine, but I used to like it. But then I just had it. There was a phase where I had it a decent bit, and then it just kind of did not. Over time, it was just didn't really live up to expectations. So I'd put it in C.
I would also put in C as well. I only had it once in my life. Wasn't particularly impressed by any of it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Burger King got a B tier, so we're gonna put it in C tier. I just saw from Charged on PC. And then you said Carl's Jr. was
C.
C. Okay, so yep, the big run of C tier has begun, everybody. I guess
Yay.
Carl's didn't get low ratings, so and someone even had it in B tier, so yeah, definitely upper C tier for Carl's. Next, we have the first one that's new that you have only been to, so you can explain this one. But this is Chiba Hut Toasted
Oh.
Subs, one of the smaller chains. It is a sandwich shop that's. It seems like it's growing. You can explain it more.
I don't know how common it is, but at least in Colorado, it like pops up a decent bit, especially in Denver. Uh, I would still take a couple other sandwich places over Chiba Hut, but I was still pretty impressed by it. I would say low B tier.
Alrighty, low B. I can't say anything on it. But yeah, that's Chiba Hut. Also, one
They don't
interesting
sell
fact.
weed.
Yeah, it's a cannabis themed chain, but they do not sell cannabis products. We actually apparently have one in Fresno, but I haven't been to it, so it'll be on my
It's worth a
list
try.
of potential places for sure. Alrighty, so next we have Chick-fil-A. So, and I guess I'll mention here that I'm going based off food, mostly for my personal rankings. There's actually a few companies that have gotten into controversy as of late, but obviously Chick-fil-A is well known in that department. But based off food, this is one of my personal favorites, so I would put it in S tier. Charge on PC also says S. Jace, where do you have it ranked?
Based on food, I it's not to say the chicken is not good, but it's not my type.
That's
I would
fair.
say B tier.
Okay. All right. So
So
we
A
got
is
S, 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 A. So I think it's
so
gonna
it looks like it
be,
averages out to high A.
yeah. All right. We can go with that. That works. Alrighty. Next we have Chipotle. This is an A tier. For me, it would be S if the quality control was better, but it's just not that great. Because there's some locations and sometimes where you go and it's like the portions you get are bad, or personally hasn't happened in my instance, but I've heard of food poisoning incidents, so that's obviously not that great. But definitely one of the better fast food chains. So I would say A personally. Jace.
Um, I would say high B tier. I've only had it once, and I was impressed by it. I don't know if I would actually. I would say A tier. Now that I think
Okay.
about it.
A is pretty agreed upon, so we're gonna go with that. Also, hello, Insane Coaster Junkie. Welcome to the stream. Just saw you joined, so wanted to say that. And next we have Culver's, which I don't believe you've been to yet, but this is my goat. This is my goat. This is, for me personally, it's S tier. Amazing burgers. I do think their frozen custard's a little overrated. I know that's kind of what they're known for. But it's okay because they had frozen fruit drinks when I was there. Those were really good. And then they have these cheese curd sides that are absolutely incredible. I mean, if you wanted to just get a bunch of those and eat it as a meal, I'd be happy. I think that's also an S tier item along with the burgers. So I would say S tier for Culver's. Freddy's will be making an appearance later. So we'll just mention that a newcomer also on this one. So yeah. Alrighty, next we have Domino's. Jace, you have any thoughts on this one?
B tier. It's pretty good pizza.
I haven't had it that much, but the last time I remember it just being very like kind of ho hum, like very much like C tier. Like it was fine. Um, we have three pizza places here. Definitely not the worst. Would not have it as my favorite of the ones on here either, though.
It's very corporate feeling pizza.
So I would personally go with C. You have it in B. If anyone else has any objections or anything. But I guess we can put it in B for now. We can give you
I
the...
would also be fine with high C.
Oh, Chartered on PC has it in A, so then yeah, it is going in B. Well, there you go. Oh wait, well now, but Stamford Bridge has it in D. Okay, that's fine. It averages out. We'll just say low B then. That's fine. Next we have Dunkin', which I actually personally haven't had. So you have to
I've only
go with
had it
this
like
one.
once. It was pretty good. I'd say like low B tier.
All right.
I thought their breakfast sandwich was pretty good. I'm not a big coffee drinker, and I'm trying to remember if I actually had a donut from there. um, Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I would imagine their donuts are very good though.
There's a chance they've had a donut from here and I just haven't known it because sometimes people bring donuts from places, but I just don't see where it's from. I'm not a huge donut person, so I'd probably have it more in C, but I'm not really gonna say much, so I think we're gonna put it in low B unless there's any objections. I think that's fair. Next we have Five Guys, which this one's really interesting because it's pretty
You might know my
expensive. It's pretty expensive, which you could argue whether I think that should have some impact, but it is one of the better fast food burgers for personally. So like it's like between an A and a B for me. Jace, you
For
can
me,
help
it's
me out a
S
little
tier.
bit. Oh wow, okay.
I really like their burgers.
Okay.
Fries are not the best fries I've ever had, but the thing is, you always have like way too much fries, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. So like I
Mm-hmm.
always order like the smallest fry tier, and I would have like a sufficient amount of fries. um, but burgers are really good. That's really where it's at.
All right, so someone else had an A, so we'll put it in high A tier because I'll say I'm an A minus, so we'll just yeah, and you have it an S, so I think we can do that. High A tier. Next, we have a place that I would definitely not want to spend 5 nights at, and that's Freddy's. I had to make that one, but anyways, um. It is good. It is actually pretty good though. The burgers were, I think, solid. They weren't the big thing, but I did really like the frozen custard. I thought that was really where Freddy's shined. I would say in that department they're better than Culver's actually, based on what I tried. But the burgers, Culver's has some beat. I would put it personally in B tier, like pretty high B tier, but still B tier. So
I would. Oh my gosh, I love Freddy's. I was actually the one who introduced him to Freddy's.
yep.
Um, so I would either put in like high A or low S. I really like their burgers. I personally have the bacon one. Um, yeah, I think and they have the shoestring fries, which those are great.
Already, someone else said A. So this is another one that'll kind of slot in here. Got a sea of
It's pretty
red.
close to Five Guys for me.
Yeah. And that's
I
speaking
think
of A
Five Guys was
tier,
S.
I would have Habit in A tier. I don't know how many people have had this. Jace, I don't believe you've had Habit. So,
Oh no.
all right. So I'm gonna slot it in the smack dab. Well, I guess if I'm picking for now, I would put it. It's weird. I would put it above these two, but I would put it below these two. So we'll just put it there. I don't think that many people have been, so I'll just move on. The burgers are quite good. The portions are a little small though, so you have to get a double decker. which is rare because I don't usually do that. But the patties are a little small, but it tastes quite good. So pretty fresh as well. And speaking of places that are known for fresh burgers, next we have In-N-Out, because that is like kind of what they're praised for. Personally, I would have it in high B tier. Um, it's like definitely one of the better burgers. I think their fries suck. I will just say that. Um, but they're just very bland. But the burgers are quite good. It is consistent location to location. I will say that in my experience. The milkshakes are pretty solid, but they're not like my absolute favorite. So I would say high B. Where would you have it, Jace?
I would say low A, so about the
Okay.
same as where you are. The first time I had In-N-Out, I wasn't too big of a fan. The burgers were just like eh. This time, but that was
When
also
we
like
had it. Or
I've had, yeah, when we had it, it was so the first time I had it, it was after doing like a 5.5 mile parade.
mm-hmm.
um so definitely, and it was outdoors, probably not the freshest burgers. Contrast that to Carrick and I actually went to an In-N-Out restaurant and the burgers were fresh. So I did really enjoy that second time I've been to In-N-Out. So I'd say high A tier.
I let's see. I know if people I know there's certain people in chat who will watch this later have a high opinion on it. So I'll put it in A tier for them. Lower end, but we'll do that. You get your win today in the In-N-Out battle. Next we have Jack in the Box. So I actually have had this somewhat recently. I didn't actually have the burger though, so not the best thing. I would have it in D tier though. I'm gonna be honest, not that big of a fan. Have you had Jack in the Box?
Yes, a
Okay.
decent bit actually. I would say B tier. It was like I like their curly fries. Their chicken strips are pretty good. I'd never really had a burger from there. Uh, but their breakfast sandwiches are good. I can say that.
Yeah, I just got a little taco snack item. It's just I've when I was younger, I didn't even like this then, so that's
Um,
how I can probably tell I probably would not like it now. So, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just need to give it a real chance. But anyways, next we have another newcomer. This one just because I decided to finally include it, not because I just had it recently. This is Jamba Juice, or now as it's called Jamba. Um, so this is weird because I really only base it off the drinks, which is kind of same logic as Starbucks later. Um, it is getting pretty expensive at this point. And I mean, you literally only go there for the drinks. I'm stuck between like A and B tier personally. I do
I would
really
say B
like the
tier.
drinks. Okay, then I think we can have it a high B, probably.
The
Or
strawberry smoothie I had from there was good.
all right, we'll stick it in here. Um, next we have Jersey Mike's subs. I've only had it once, so I'll let you take this one. Mostly.
Uh, oh gosh. I would say, because I'm trying to think of how it compares to Subway, which I guess is coming up later.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I would say a high B. I would say Jersey Mike's is a decent bit better than Chiba Hut. I don't
Oh,
know how
Charged
many
on
people.
PC has it on S, so I guess
Oh,
it's
really?
okay. So we'll see about that, but
Yeah. I usually have their like cheesesteaks, and they're really good. So, yeah.
I remember liking it a decent bit, and I mean I thought it was a lot. I am notoriously not a fan of Subway, so um, I but I've only had it once. I guess I could say B tier, but with the S, I think we'll stick it in high B. I think that's fair. So um, yeah, so Danny DeVito's gonna come crashing into my room and like take me out or something now that I've said that. He's gonna want an S. All right, next. This one's been requested. I forget who's been requesting Johnny Rockets, but I looked at the previous chats, and well, we went to the one at Magic Mountain. Probably not a good reference, but we have had Johnny Rockets. I didn't even have the burgers there. I had the chicken tenders.
Did I have a
I
burger?
would
I think I had
say,
chicken tenders as well.
yeah. Think I honestly like it was a fine enough food to get by, but like even compared to a lot of these, I would definitely not choose it based off my experience. So I would even say like a high D, honestly.
I've been to Johnny Rockets like twice, once at Magic Mountain, once like at some mall. I forget. The time at the mall, I actually like the food a decent bit.
Okay.
So I'd say as a solid B.
Okay. So I have it in D. Keystone Coasters, welcome to the chat, has it in D tier, so that will slot it at smack dab in C tier. So there we go. Next, we have KFC. Haven't had this one in a while.
Yeah, me neither.
I've generally been lower on it, but I do, even though I don't have it that much, I think I do recall it being like okay when I've had it. So like C tier, I guess.
I've had it a lot in my childhood, not so much now,
Hmm.
but I'd say like another solid B tier.
All right, and
Um,
Keystone said C also. So
Potato wedges are delicious. I
I
will
think
say that.
it'll go high C tier just
And I
because.
really like their popcorn chicken.
Oh well, Charger on PC said it's B tier, so it's going in B tier now. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Next we have Krispy Kreme donuts, which you're probably more familiar with than I am. I do know that I've had these donuts, just I haven't necessarily like literally went to the place. Once again, not that big of a donuts fan, but I'll just kind of stick it in C, I guess, personally. But
Yeah, I'd say a high C. Like, I would definitely prefer Krispy Kremes over like most of the stuff in the C tier one. Um, their donuts, while they are good,
when you put it
I would
that
say
way,
they're
I
like,
agree.
uh, I would say their donuts are like a little too sweet for my taste. I don't know. I usually get like the more plain donuts, like glazed donuts. So comparing their glazed donuts to other glazed donuts, Krispy Kreme's is a lot more sweet. So if you're into that, cool. For me, it's bordering on too much.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not the best donut critique, so I will just I'll leave that to leave it there. Oh boy, next this one was another one that was requested, and boy am I happy to include Little Caesars on here. I'm sorry for all the look. I know it's like a college student savior, like pizza's dirt cheap and everything, but like literally this is the most F of any of these on here, and it's not even close. Look, here the reason why it, with taste it'd be like D tier, but the problem is if I have more than one slice, I will literally get sick. It's happened to me multiple times. It ruined one of my Halloweens. Like I ended up being too sick where I couldn't do anything. I was at another of my friend's place and we got Little Caesars. I ended up being sick again. It's like it's just too greasy, I guess. I don't really know, but it's like it consistently has made me sick, and it's just like, yeah, it's got to be an F tier for that reason. Even though I don't think it's the worst tasting of all of these, for that reason, I would put it in F tier. The chat very much disagrees with me. Um, because they have an A. Like, we have two A's and an F. So, Jace, have you had Little Caesars or no?
I don't think so.
Gosh,
I'm
I
out of
guess
this one.
I guess I would have to go in B, but I don't know what it is. Like literally Little Caesars has made me sick multiple times. So I that's just like but man, that's so weird to see Little Caesars there. Think I might use my rule. My moves. That's a very
We have two
possible
moves.
outcome. I'm there's a few places that I'm like licking my chops looking at like, which one what am I going to do? That's definitely one of them. Like I said, I know it's a college student savior, so Little Caesars reminds you of Papa John's, and Papa John's for you is a solid F. We can put in C here for that reason then. I think that's okay. Although I guess it's not really fair because that's not like really having it, so I'll keep it in B. All right, next we have McDonald's. Um, you can go for this one.
I would say low B. Um, it's like I've had it a lot, and while their burgers are definitely not my favorite, I really like their McChickens. I think those are
Okay.
delicious. Uh, the weird thing is, where I'm from, uh, we get normal McChickens. When I'm like in Colorado, there's like I see crispy McChickens on the menu, but not the normal ones. I don't think I've had the crispy ones yet, so I'll reserve judgment for that. But fries are good.
So this is interesting because I would normally say it's C tier because I think McDonald's is like super baseline. Um, personally, I think the burgers are like one of the worst, but I do like the chicken nuggets and most of the chicken stuff. I think those are solid, and I even enjoy the breakfast actually a decent bit. So I think it evens out to C.
McDougal's.
Yep. Um, so we have an A tier, a C tier, C or D. I guess it's also going in B, just based off that. Looks like it. Yep. Alrighty. Next we got Moe's. Have you had Moe's?
I have not.
Okay.
That's all
So
you.
this one's really interesting because the food is B tier level. Um, but this was based off my personal experience, so I am gonna put this in just because like it's actually based on an experience thing. The location I went to was, oh boy, the floor to order was like insanely sticky for like the whole way, which was bad. Look, I've worked in customer service, so I get that sometimes some days are rough. I've worked as a cashier, but man, the people working there were not at all in a great mood, and it was just kind of depressing. Um, but so the restaurant experience was like F level, but the food was like B level, so I'll put it in like C. I would say C, I guess, because I still like the food, but like man, it experience was not great. So let's see, we got C, B, and S. Well, I guess that puts it in B again. Another B tier. Just add another one to the list. All right. Next, we have Noodles and Company. Have you done this one or no? Nope. Okay.
Not me.
So they have like a lot of noodle based dishes, which is like but both like European and Asian stuff. So it's actually pretty good. I actually would put this in A tier. I quite enjoyed. I had both some of the Asian offerings and the like more like pasta, like Italian stuff. I thought it was pretty good. I would put it in A tier. Don't know if that many other people have had it. It's a decently sized chain, but it's not like as I guess out like well known as obviously a lot of these other ones. But it's not like the smallest chain we have on here, so guess we'll probably leave it there. Next we have Panda Express. Jace, you can go first for this.
I would say like a high B tier. Um, the food is like some of it's a little sweeter than I expected, but overall it's good.
So I, of
I
course,
know you
I've
really like it.
well, the first time we did it, I had it in S. Then I tried it in the Midwest, and that was wow. I can see why people don't like it, um, because it was so much worse over there. But I mean, because I live in California, it's not that much of an issue for me, so I'd still put it in A tier personally. Keystone Coasters said B tier. I have it in A, so I guess you two both have it in B, so I guess it kind of plugs in around here. All right. The B tier is getting humongous. That's
So
for
that's a pretty
sure.
good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, it's so weird. It's like things I like. It's like these I'd like agree. Like some of these I'd agree with. A lot of these, if they were like one tier lower, I feel like. But yeah. Next we have Panera Bread. Jace, you want to go first for this one?
Well, I don't remember doing this one. Wait, have I done this one?
Oh, have you not been? Then I'll take it then.
Yeah,
Keystone
sure.
has
Because
it in
I don't
S,
remember.
which I do respect it. Um, the mac and cheese there is so good, and the flatbreads are pretty darn good too. Um, but I think I'd still put it in A. I don't think I quite could put it in S. Um, but
I'll
I
get to
saw
you, Stanford Bridge.
Stamford Bridge has that question. Um, uh, we can slot it in at like top of A since someone put it in S, so that's fine. I'm cool with that. Panera is quite good. Next we have Pizza Hut. Or actually, do you want to answer Stanford Bridge's question first, or?
Oh, sure. If you want me to. So I was thinking of at the end. If not, anyway. So poi. I'm actually very unpopular on poi. I don't enjoy it all that much. I would say like C tier at best for poi. I
Mm-hmm.
know some people are gonna want me dead for that, but anyway, taro is good. I would say that's a high B. Poke, that's pretty all right. I'd say a low B. Spam I really like. That's like high A.
Oh wow.
That's also
Okay.
pretty unpopular. But
Yeah.
it's like most of the time now I don't eat spam by itself. I would usually have it in a spam musubi, which is very popular in Hawaii if you don't know. Um it's like a spam sushi basically.
Okay.
Shave ice, that's S tier. Shave ice is so good in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Swim oh Simon. Um I'd say Simon's like a low A tier. It's basically ramen, but like maybe a little better.
Oh, okay. All right. Noted.
um yeah,
All right. So
out of
back
those, that's how I would rank it.
back to Pizza Hut. I already see we have two A's, one F. Where do you got it, or what do you think of Pizza Hut?
Mm, I actually okay, this might sound pretty unpopular. I actually prefer Pizza Hut's cheese pizza to Domino's. Because Pizza Hut, I feel like it has a little more flavor to it, whereas Domino's kind of feels like I mentioned earlier, like a little stale. I describe it as like very corporate pizza.
Mm-hmm.
um, so for that, I would put in B tier.
I agree, and we have two A's and one F.
It's
Yeah.
definitely more greasy than Dom. Or actually, I'd say they're about the same level of grease.
My most of my experience is when I was younger. They had the like in store locations at Target, and they had the mini
Oh,
ones, which
those are
I
so good.
those
Now that
ones
you
were
mentioned
quite
that,
those ones were quite good. So that's mostly what I'm basing it off of. So
based off of that, I would put in high B then.
okay, well it's already pretty high up here. So actually
That's
we
fine
can
where it
put it
is.
at the
Yeah.
top just because there's only because it's yeah. All right, that works. All right, next we have Popeyes. Which have you had Popeyes yet or no?
I have not.
Okay, this is a really fascinating one. So I just tried it for the first time a few months ago. Out of any of the chicken restaurants, they have the best chicken sandwich. I'm gonna say that right now. They have the best chicken sandwich, even more than Chick-fil-A, which I love Chick-fil-A, but Popeyes got him beat in the chicken sandwich department. The only problem is I like there's not really a whole lot else in their items that I like a whole lot. But I mean, when the entree dish and the main reason you go is that good, that doesn't really matter so much. Um, so it's tough because I've only had it once. So would I put it in S? I'd be a little hesitant because I'd be like, I feel like I would at least want to have it a few more times. Because Culver's I've had multiple times, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. But man, it left a pretty strong impression that I would definitely at least have it in A tier. And then Charged on PC has it in S, Keystone has it in B. We'll put it in high A. Like I think we can have it in the highest point because I that chicken sandwich is god tier. It is so good. So, yeah, I will say that much.
Yeah, it seems really good.
Alrighty. Next, we have Qdoba, which you've been to. What's your thoughts?
Yes. I've only been to Qdoba once, but I really like their quesadillas. I'd say those are very good. I would actually, I know my one Chipotle experience is not like a normal Chipotle experience. My work, the place where I work, basically served it to all of us.
Oh, okay.
So based off of those two experiences, my one time eating Chipotle and my one time eating Qdoba, I would put Qdoba over Chipotle. I will say
Okay.
that might
And
change,
chat
but
chat agrees. We got S and
really,
A. So you would also say A tier
yeah,
or S.
I would say A
Okay.
tier. I mean, it's better
Okay.
than Chipotle, I think.
Then
um,
we'll slot it. Actually, that it's getting pretty high praise, so we'll put it
yeah, I'd say one of the
pretty
best
high.
quesadillas I've ever had, at least from a fast food perspective.
Yeah. The order doesn't matter so much, but I'll just put it here because um seemingly everyone oh wait, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I think it was A and S. Yeah. Okay. Next we have Raisin Canes, which wow, how this one has fallen since I last went. Have you been to Raisin Canes?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Oh boy, we
Do you
already
want
have
to
an
go first?
S.
Yeah.
This is a C tier for me personally. Um, I here's what I'm gonna say here. I don't get why it's so popular when Popeyes and Chick-fil-A exist. Like, it's nowhere near as good as those. First off, I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. I mean, it's really it comes down to how much you like the special sauce, I suppose. And then I would at least normally have it in B tier. But you see, the last time and you could say I'm biased, but we went to a location that I'm pretty sure like the three of us who ate all ended up not feeling good afterwards. I got the worst of it. So based on that being my most recent experience and being a little more cautious of it, it went from being in B tier to C tier. So yeah, I know that's an unpopular one. That's a spicy take, but that's where I got what I got for
Yeah.
Raising Cane's.
Um, I'm quite the opposite. I'll be honest. Raising Cane's is my favorite fast food place for chicken.
Oh
So
wow, all
like,
right.
if I want chicken, and I could choose any fast food restaurant, I would choose Raising Cane's. It might be because I like the cane sauce, really good. I like their crinkle cut fries. Yeah, they don't have too much on their menu, but I like the overall package I get.
Mm-hmm.
So I would actually say S tier.
Oh my my C is like the only thing keep it would be yeah, it would be like top of A tier because I there's three S's and I'm the one who has it in C. So dang. I just I've had it multiple times. Like look, I like the sauce is pretty good, but I just I struggle with that so much. Although you haven't had Popeyes, so that might change your
That is
mind.
true. I haven't had Popeyes yet. That might change,
I'll
but
just say I think they got the best. I think they if you have it over Chick-fil-A, I think that's I can see that. But if you have it over Popeyes, I gotta question. I just gotta question some things.
let me do a quick headphone change. You can keep going.
Alrighty. Next we have another newcomer. I think this is actually the last of the true newcomers. Um, and this is Skyline Chili. So I had it when I was in Orlando. I had it in an unorthodox way because so I went to a theme park industry event in Orlando hosted by Skyline Attractions, and they wanted to fulfill their dream of getting Skyline Chili to cater at their event, and they did. And so I was able to have it based off that one experience. So it's like um, it's like chili and noodles and things of that sort with cheese on top. Personally, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Enjoyed it more than I thought because at first I'd be like, I don't know, this is my kind of food. I would have it in like pretty high B personally. So, um, I think Keystone Coasters says A for this. So, I think this is another high B. So, and you have not had Skyline Chili, I don't imagine. So, and
I have
Michael
not.
had an A. So, actually, I guess it'll go in A then. I guess because we have two A tiers. Because some people really like it. I do know that. So definitely has a following out there in the Midwest to East Coast. So yeah. Next we have Sonic. Uh, well, you've had this one, I assume.
Yes, I have.
Your
Um,
thoughts?
I would say it's probably C tier at best.
All right.
um, it's nothing on there I particularly really like. Their chicken's good. It's like all right. Fries are good, but nothing on there really stands out. The only thing stands out about it is the way you order. But
Mm-hmm.
that's about it.
Um, yeah, I'm willing to agree with this. I would put it in C tier. We also need more C tier. Keystone said it was B, but so it'll be high B. But yeah, Sonic right there in C. Next, we got Starbucks, which is another one that I mostly base off the drinks. I've had a few breakfast items. It wouldn't really move the needle up or down a tier or anything like that. And also, I should note, I'm not a coffee person. I get the frappuccinos, so a little bit weird that I'm not in the coffee department. But I would put it in B. That's probably where I'd have it.
I would also, I'd say high B. Yeah. Uh, I am not a coffee person either. I try not to drink any caffeine personally.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But that being said, I did have coffee like there a few times, and I mean it's Starbucks. Of course, the coffee is gonna be good. Um, their breakfast sandwiches are good, and some of their like other drinks, I do find pretty tasty.
Yeah, that's fair. The Keystone and Michael said D tier, so we'll slot it like C tier. So, which honestly we need more C tier, so I'm actually okay with it. Next we got Steak and Shake. This is one of my personal favorite burger places. Am I willing to put it? We have like one thing in S right now. I normally wouldn't be willing to put it in S, but I am tempted. I think I'm gonna say, have you had Steak and Shake by any chance?
I have not, unfortunately.
You know what? I think I'm going to put it in S tier because, like, look, I there's a few places on here I would in A that I would rather have over it, but I mean it's pretty darn good. Probably, honestly, I think it'd probably be my second favorite like true burger like fast food place, anyways. So I'm going to put in S. Keystone said A tier. Michael used to work in Steak and Shake. That's cool. A for okay, yeah. I think we'll keep it in S because we need a few things there. So yeah, that's cool that you used to work there though. We don't have any in this area, so I've only had it a few times, but it's quite good. So we'll go with that. Alrighty, next we have Subway. You can go first.
Okay, so you know how Carrick mentioned how like some restaurants are like college saviors?
Mm-hmm. This would
Well,
be one of them.
in my opinion, Subway is my college savior. It might just be because we have one, or I literally have like three Subways in like my college, or like very close to my college, if not on my college campus. Um, but oh my gosh. Uh, my favorite sandwich to get from there is their number one, their Philly. It's very, in my opinion, it's very delicious. Uh, and keep in mind, I've never had their foot long cookie, churro, or pretzel
Oh my
yet.
god.
So that might even jump it higher. I would say A tier.
All right. Charged on PC says A tier. Now, I used to say F tier for Subway. I will concede a little bit because I will admit that perhaps I have been making the wrong sandwich choices, but I'm still gonna have it in D tier. So you have, but there's three people who say it's A tier, so it'll be like a high B. So
Fair enough.
there we go. Hey, so the moves can still be used. So like at the end of this, so depending on what you want to do.
Choices,
Next,
choices.
next we got Taco Bell. I'm back to B with this one. I have returned to B with Taco Bell. Yeah, I mean, I used to like the burritos when I was younger, along with crunchy tacos. I think crunchy tacos is where I usually go to. But yeah, I enjoy it. I'd say B tier.
I'd say you have it exactly where I would rank it. Taco Bell is slowly growing on me. It's still not my favorite restaurant. I feel like a lot of the stuff is a little too oily, but crunchy tacos are good. I will say that. I recently had that for the first time, and yeah, it was better than I thought.
All right, next we have Wendy's, which, man, Wendy's, I ain't gonna lie, the last time we went, kind of let me down. Not impressed. You know what? This is another one where I'm okay with it being in C tier. So, um,
I would say
oh,
like a high
actually, Taco
B or
Bell's gonna
low
go
A.
in A. I just saw there's three people who had an A. So, uh, and where would he have Wendy's?
Either high B or low A. I enjoy it.
All right, so at least for now, that means it's in B. Yeah, and
Our gigantic B list.
yes. The A tier is right there with it too, which is
That is
pretty
true.
wild. So, but yeah, and then the last one we have is I'm pretty sure you're the only one that's gonna be able to talk on this one. This is Zippy's.
Oh, you included it?
Well, we included all the ones, so
That is true, yeah. Um, yeah, it's basically a Hawaii chain restaurant,
mm-hmm.
or like exclusively for Hawaii. I'd say, I mean, the last time I had it, it was like pretty good. I would say B tier.
Okay, all right, and you can
It's
wherever
pretty
you
alright.
want, wherever in the B tier you want, you
Ooh,
have full control.
um, I'd
I mean, it doesn't
say
matter
to the
that much,
right
but
of Jersey Mike's, to the left of Chiba Hut.
okay, there we go. All right, and then we got our two moves. So you went first last time, so I will take first here. I'm really wondering, should I do the two moves or the one chain down two spots? Because there are some that I definitely could justify doing that for. Um, this is interesting. You know what? I want so badly to move Little Caesars down two spots, but a decent amount of people liked it, so I won't. I will refrain from doing that. But I do want. I think something. But I am looking at these C tier options, and I'm like, does one of these? Do I want to put it in F? And it's so tricky. I'm like, because there are some I want to, but I'm like, or do I want to do the two ones? Because honestly, I'm actually okay. I don't think there's much that's like too low. Like the only thing is like maybe Panda I'd move up to A tier, but honestly, I think everything else I'm like okay. I don't think it's like too low. So, and honestly, Panda Express I kind of get it with the quality thing. So I'm sorry, I'm just talking in circles now, trying to get to this. I think I'm just gonna do the easiest thing, and I'm gonna just use my two moves and continue the meme for my brother. Arby's goes in F.
Oh my gosh.
Um, we haven't been to Bojangles. We're doing places that we've been to, but I would like to check it out because I've also heard it's great. So, same with CC's. So, Yeah. All right. So I wasted my two moves. Jace, what do you want to do? You have full reign now with your two.
Okay. First, I'm gonna move Five Guys to S tier.
Okay.
um, and I'm also gonna. Ooh. Do I want to do this one? Because I know you're not the biggest fan of it, but I really do like this restaurant.
Oh no, you go for you have full reign. I mean, that's
Okay.
why I wasted mine on Arby's.
Then
So
then I'm also gonna move Canes to S tier.
jeez. Okay, yeah.
I mean, we have more in the S tier.
That is true. But wow, yeah. I actually out of all the ones, yeah, that's a hard one to swallow.
But like I would say, because I know I haven't been to the other two in S tier, but Five Guys and Canes are probably my two favorite fast food restaurants.
Okay, so that's fair because you got your two goats. Well, Culver's is my goat. Steak and Shake is not necessarily my second goat, but it's still pretty good, so I'm happy having it here. But yeah, that's gonna be our tier list. So thanks everyone for uh contributing to the tier list, and we'll move on to our final Q&A, which will also be our buy or sell. So whether you have final Q&A questions or buy or sell questions, we'll be answering that here. And that'll pretty much wrap up the stream. The stream went I forgot how long the tier lists take, especially because these ones were huge, so it definitely took longer than I was expecting. But this is the 5-year special, so that's okay. So anyone who has a question, let us know in the chat, and we'll go from there. So that'll be the plan. Some pretty interesting tier lists that we got. So that is interesting. I'm probably gonna post the fast food tier list on my personal Instagram just to be like, see how horribly disgusted people are by it. In and Out not being an S tier will get me killed, so that's fun.
It's okay. I also sort of contributed to that because I said
Yeah,
A tier.
it wasn't. It didn't get in B tier though, which I don't. Yeah. That's interesting. That's why I shouldn't have wasted the two moves, because I actually, had I realized Raising Cane's was that high, I probably would have lowered it. I don't know that I don't think I would have bumped it down two, but I probably would have bumped it down one. So, but Arby's continues to be an F. So that joke continues, I guess.
I mean, I haven't been to Arby's, or in a while.
Yeah.
So I don't really have. I basically didn't go to that restaurant. Ooh.
Honestly, the more I've thought about it, I'm more okay. Oh wait, the more I've thought about it, I'm more okay with it being an F, because at least Burger King, even though I have it in F, it's like, at least when I was younger, I actually remember liking the food. I don't think I've ever actually legitimately like enjoyed Arby's like a single time. Even though I don't think it's like to the necessarily like the bad isn't quite as bad as like some of the other ones, but I think it's still like I can I can justify it.
So they don't got the meats.
Yeah, no, they don't. They really don't. Buy or sell. SNS has had its full debut now in an attempt to move up its North American profile to the next level, and on the whole, they failed. Companies will be more likely to give them a pass. Yeah, I think they've had a lot of issues, and it's not great. I think yeah, we're gonna continue seeing at least North American chains. They're really gonna have to hit on their international projects right now, is basically what it's come down to. So basically it's whether you think they will hit or not hit. And honestly, I think they're gonna continue to have issues. I would love for them to get things together, because they make some really cool looking rides and things, but it's been a struggle. So I'm gonna say they're still gonna have issues with parks trying to buy stuff from them. So I unfortunately will buy it. Jace.
Yeah, I really like their concepts. Like a lot of them, sound amazing. Um, it's kind of weird how the one that did take off is like not one of the or is like in middle of the road. Um, but yeah, I mean, I can tell SNS still has a few ideas they're willing to try, but it kind of seems like they exhausted most of them. Um,
hmm
like I sort of describe them as being like Chrysler as a car company. They love to make unique cars, but their reliability is has never really been there.
hmm Yeah, man, SNS has had a really tough time. Some of it is kind of, Dododompa obviously now recently closing. That obviously is not a great look on top of everything else. Steel Curtain has been insanely problematic. Max Force has had its issues. The Gale Force and the suspended coaster situations where the suspended coaster got delayed a year, and then Gale Force they had to completely
That more
retrack.
had to do with theming, but still, or the in the case of Merlin Mayhem.
Depending on who you ask. um, but yeah, man, it's tough. I'm not even gonna include the Extreme Rusher because that's more of a maintenance problem than a manufacturing issue. But there is just that out there, which is not great either. By yourself, the closure of Dodonpa and with Nagashima Spa Land not receiving a new coaster since Hakuge, a competitive year will emerge where the two parks will rival each other. Um, I'm going to sell because I don't really think they actually are at each other's throats or anything like that. Also, Dodonpa is going to be weird to replace because of the land it used, and they just opened their new super expensive Intamin family coaster. I think Nagashima could get something soon, but I don't know that Fuji-Q is going to be an insane rush to do it before 2029. I think if you're saying both of them will build a big new coaster by 2029, then yeah, I'll buy it. I guess just maybe the reasoning I don't agree with, but if you're saying both of them get a big new coaster, I don't know if it'll be in the same year, but I will buy that both of them will get a big new coaster by 2029. So, I in the same year, I don't necessarily think so, though. So we'll see. Jace.
Yeah. Sort of what you said. I also agree. Fuji Q just got like an expensive coaster, even though it's a family coaster. It's still expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely need to wait it out or like get the revenue from that ride before getting a big new coaster. Uh, yeah, distances are not as much of a problem in Japan, but isn't Nagashima and Fuji Q a pretty
They're pretty
decent distance
far. They're
apart?
pretty
Yeah.
far. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there may not be as much motivation for those parks to compete, although uh, speak or based on their coaster lineups, yeah, it seems like they have competed with each other in the past.
Mm-hmm. Well, but like kind of in the Coaster Wars age of things, so which we're
Yeah,
not
more in the
really
coaster
at
wars,
anymore. You might even more
more
attribute to
international.
that it's like they did it because of it was a trend at the time. So,
Yeah, it was more like an international thing rather than
mm-hmm.
Fuji Q than a local like Japan. That's Japan park kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they did go crazy for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
That's
for
for
sure.
sure.
Um, let's see. Buy or sell. SNS's Asian market will take a hit within the region as the Chinese accidents occurred. Yeah, that sucks because it's not their fault, but um, that's kind of, well, I think Asia is actually the one place where they can redeem themselves, really. Now, I'm thinking mostly Middle East because that's where their new projects are going, not necessarily East Asia. If it does not help that in Asia, Dotodome just closed, and now you have this whole situation where it's like it was more of a maintenance issue, but it's just kind of like it's another air launch coaster, and I think a lot of people are gonna see that and be like, hmm. Um, but I will sell because I think hopefully I'm gonna hope that the Axis coasters work out and that other parks kind of around the region will be interested. Um, that and maybe some other parks will get like free spins and whatever. So um, yeah, I will sell it.
So that means it won't take a hit,
It
or
won't. It won't. It won't.
okay. So then I'll also sell it. Um, yeah, like you mentioned at the end, I think Asian parks might take a liking to the free spins eventually. Um, China is such a weird market. It's hard to tell what kind of coasters they're going to want to get now after
Mm-hmm.
that accident. So can't really decide on China. But as for the others, at least for sure, I don't think we're going to see many other air launch coasters built
Mm-hmm.
afterward, which is sad because most of their air launch coasters are in Asia. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I wouldn't say it's like entirely going to take a hit. Plus, well, I guess I don't know. I guess SNS is owned by an Asian company, but I don't know if that
Sensei.
really helps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, hopefully they're able to work things out. Might just be a tough stretch here. But anyways, and then actually, you can ask questions in the next 5 minutes. We'll answer anything that comes in the next 5 minutes. But after that, we'll probably wrap it up. If that sounds good with you, Jace.
Yeah,
So
that sounds good.
with the closure of Dododompa, experienced enthusiasts have no unridden coasters around the world. Oh, have no unridden coasters around the world that could make them nervous before riding for the first time. That's a interesting way to think about it. Some people still say they get scared of like staying at like King Dakar if they haven't ridden anything near as tall, or Formula Rosa even, or Egenica, like the fourth dimension coasters. People apparently have that nervousness. Or Falcon's Flight, I assume, will be pretty imposing. So, no, I'm going to sell that. I think there are still going to be some rides and enthusiasts will admittedly say that they were nervous to ride for the first time. So I will still sell that.
I'm gonna sell that because I imagine I would be pretty nervous before riding I-305.
That too. That's
um,
another one. Yep.
so that alone, I'm gonna say sell.
Mm-hmm. Does it count if you're nervous for riding a really terrible roller coaster? Or ride that like it's a horrible reputation? Also.
I would count it, yeah.
Because that'd be me on boomerangs. So
You're in a similar mindset to a member of the general public before riding a really scary ride.
mm-hmm. Just like, oh
So I would
boy,
count it.
what's this gonna do? Um ooh. Actually, so we'll see what happens, but I think general consensus is that Jetline at Gronaloon, of course, had a tragic accident, but I believe the assumption is that it will open, reopen probably with new trains. So yeah, I will buy it. It also would be a massive pain to get it removed from the park because they'd have to remove other attractions near it. So as long as it's somewhat feasible, I think they will reopen it. So I will say that yes, I will buy that.
Yeah, I would also buy that just because it's so well integrated into the other attractions. It would be very hard for them to remove.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. What park do you think has the best top two of any that we've been to? I will still hold it in Magic Mountain's favor, and I'm sure you would probably agree with that. X2 and Twisted Colossus, I would still say is the best top two out there. Honorable mentions are Steel Vengeance and now Maverick, along with Kings Island is weird because Beast at Night and Mystic Timbers I think is a really sick 1-2 punch, but like Beast at Night is just a weird criteria that you won't be able to do every day, so like that's kind of a weird one to count. and then Medusa Steel and Superman at Six Flags Mexico would also be really high, but I still think Magic Mountain's got the best. So
Yeah, in terms of the parks I visited, yeah, I would say Magic Mountain as well. I would say an honorable mention is Ghost Rider and Hang Time, but you can probably trade Hang Time for Accelerator. They're
hmm
very close for me. Um, I I guess. Oh, but I haven't ridden Skyrush yet, so I don't know if I would do
yeah,
Hershey as, and I didn't do Wildcat's Revenge either.
yeah, you're
Um,
literally missing probably the top two.
I
That
need to get
might
that Hershey.
Wildcats Revenge and Skyrush might take the crown. It we'll see.
That's true, and I believe I believe Skyrush with the new restraints just opened up,
Yep,
so
just opened.
it'll be exciting to see like new reviews
Holiday
soon.
Park. Yeah, Holiday Park will be in contention with that extreme spinner
That
and
is true.
G-Force, as we mentioned earlier. I-305 and Twisted Timbers also
That's another really good one.
would probably have definitely have a shot too. Um, if I like El Toro enough, maybe El Toro and King Ka, but probably not. But because I don't know, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I feel more confident that I will really like King Ka than where I'm gonna land on El Toro. So
El Toro thing is going to be amazing.
I don't know where I'm gonna land with that one because it's just an interesting ride in general. Um, there's no rumors or anything right now, but Tower of Terror at Gold Reef City will shut down within the next 10 years. I haven't heard anything that would suggest this, so I'm going to sell it. I get that it's like a weird coaster with, but I mean, since Gio Vanola made it, the track's similar to like B&M or what B&M can do, and I'm sure they can like fabricate and recreate new track pieces. So I don't think it'll be a problem. I would sell that.
Yeah, I would also sell. Seems like it's running fine. I haven't heard too much about that ride.
hmm
But yeah, I can imagine it'll be like not too bad to renovate. We'll see.
All right. So I see that. So the question that Stanford Bridge asked about Skyrush will be the last question we answer. So because that came in at about the time. So it'll be that. Buy or sell. Both you and I will hit big coaster count milestones by the end of 2024. What are you at? 57?
I'm at 56,
Oh,
I think.
56. Are you sure?
Let me
I
check
I thought it
that.
was 57. Or at least I thought it
It's
was
either
after the trip.
56 or 58. I remember it was an even number.
Oh, really? Okay.
Or I don't know. Here, I got the coaster count pulled up. 56.
56. All right. Um sounds good. But
So
man, that's a long ways.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think I'll quite hit a milestone. If you count 75 as a milestone, maybe I'll hit it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think usually it's like for most people it's like in the it's like but goes by hundreds.
Or
So,
like 50s.
so I'm now actually so because of the trip I did, I was at 178, now I'm at 182. Actually in the next few days here, I won't say where, but I'm actually handling some other credits that have eluded me for a while, so that'll make my number jump up even a little more to 184. Assuming I can get the rides I want to do. But it's just it really depends on what the travel plans are because I mean 16 isn't that much, but like there's not much I can hit around locally. Like there's just kind of a few minor credits here and there that I can like kind of pick up. Um, it would require me to go somewhere that has a decent amount of credits. So I did have it on my bingo card though. So I will buy it just because I hope I get that bingo slot that I would reach 200 credits. But it may prove to be tricky. I see this as probably compared to the last 2 years. I think I ride less coasters this year compared to the last two, at least new ones. So, yeah. Alrighty, so last two questions. Do you think vegan will attempt to enter the roller coaster market? Oh, okay, because they, of course, do the alpine coasters. Let me see. What's their recent models? Um, because I have they, yeah, they've been doing like the coaster cart and stuff recently. So they've been branching out a little bit. But I mean, they've built over 300 coasters and they're all alpine coasters. I think they're just going to stick to their bread and butter. I don't really see why you would go outside of it. So I'm going to sell just because it's kind of, I mean, that you're already like such a powerful force in this one like area. I don't really see why they would try to go into actual roller coasters because they'd have a big learning curve, I feel like. So I will sell that.
I could see them starting with kiddie coasters, but
Mm-hmm.
I would not see them going any further than that. Um, if this is a buy or sell, I would say sell still, but I'm like pretty in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It could have either way.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, thing is, kitty coasters is even pretty saturated, so it'd be kind of
That
hard
is
to
true, yeah.
break in. I mean, like I said, they have such a strong hold in where they are that it's kind of like I don't really see why they would venture outside of it. Um, and then we have our last one. Buy or sell with the new restraints, Skyrush will move up several YouTube content creators' top lists, and the ride will get new life as a top tier coaster in the enthusiast community. Now, here's the thing. I think some people will like it more, but I think there's some people who it's so weird because I feel like the people who really hate it, like I don't think they're just all of a sudden gonna turn around and like say it's an elite coaster. Um, Even because there's some people who don't like it who also like cite the layout, like they think it's not that interesting or some other things.
A
I think the
rattle.
reputation, yeah, the rattle, the reputation will go up, but I don't think it's like the people who hate it are automatically gonna have it in like their top 10 or 20 now. I don't see that happening. Um, so I'm actually going to sell it because I think that's kind of been overstated. Like I think a lot of people will now be able to enjoy it who didn't before, but I don't know that it's gonna be like on their top list. Like I know for sure it's not gonna be on like Chris's top list even with the change. I know that. And I know there's other people that would be the same. So I'm still going to say sell. It just won't be as like horribly polarizing, I don't think, in terms of I don't think there's gonna be people who hate it anymore per se. So yeah.
Um, I mean, you've ridden. I think out of the two of us, you're the only one who has ridden Intamin's new restraints or the
Mm-hmm.
new over the head lap
Yep.
bars, right? Based off of that, do you think it would work on Skyrush, or like, do you think it would make the ride noticeably better?
I think it'll make it a lot more comfortable. I will say that, but it's just I just I don't know. It would it I have a hard time seeing a lot of people being like, "Oh yeah, it was like my worst coaster or like one of my least favorite thrilling coasters." Like, "Oh yeah, now it's a top 10 ride for me." Because the restraints are better now. I just have a hard time seeing that. Um
I would say, most enthusiasts I've heard are in the camp of Skyrush will be the best ever if they just did this, this, and this.
mhm.
Um, and this and that would mainly refer to the restraints.
Mhm.
So I feel like if like once it's gonna open, I think most of Skyrush's haters gonna be are gonna change their mind on it. So I would say buy. I could see it going both ways as well. We'll see.
The well, I no, I definitely think the people who don't like it will like at least like they won't hate it anymore. I don't see the idea thinking of they're just gonna turn into like big Skyrish fanboys. It's just like I don't see it. Because I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I don't know that a restraint could ruin a ride that much. Although there might be some instances, like I've heard Coaster at PNE Playland's an example,
Ghost
but that's like
Rider.
a weird one. Oh, Coast. Okay, but that ride was never gonna be elite, right? So, um, like,
It would be much more enjoyable.
like, like for Magnum, for example, a lot of people have that ranked really high. I enjoy it, but I'm not as big of a fan. If somehow they replace the restraint with something that was less painful, I don't think I would like be like, oh, it's a top 10 coaster now, and all that. So it's just kind of like, I I don't know. It's a weird one, but I definitely think the hate will go away for Skyrush. So there were a lot of enthusiasts who only hated the coaster only because of its restraints. But did they
That
really?
was sort of my thinking.
There's some people who like they get a better ride on it and it's like they still are like it's still overhyped. I feel like we're still gonna get some of that just because the first impression for a lot of people can be pretty strong. So I don't know. That's me just talking in circles, but we'll see. That'll be one of the most fascinating things to see over the next really season, this season really, what the thoughts are on the new restraints and if people who hated it before now like really love it and have it ranked really highly or what happens. So that will actually be really fascinating for sure. But I think that'll wrap it up for the stream. Thanks to all of you who have been watching for whether it's been like just you started today or within the last few weeks or months, or you've been watching for like the last like anywhere from like 2 to 5 years, especially with these streams, but just with content in general and on my social media platforms. Really, having the interaction with all of you has been a huge part of what's made Coaster Hour being this fun, and I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. So you're really the reason that I've still been like doing the channel and putting so much time into it. And I can't thank you enough. And I mean, this channel has been really a big part of my life more recently because I've been getting into the like literal amusement industry. I'm literally working in it. I don't think that would be happening without the channel. So it's been a big part of my life, even in that sense as well. So once again, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for supporting today and then for however long you have been over, whether, like I said, it's been a day or the last 5 years. So it's been a great journey, and I hope to continue it even more as we go. I'll just say content might be a little slower in the next few weeks. I'm hoping to do another live stream this month, so hopefully that's able to work out. Hopefully I can get into shorts a little bit as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have there. Jace, do you have any last things you want to say before we head out?
Not much, but thank you for inviting me on this stream, especially since this is your 5-year anniversary stream. Very honored to be a part of that. And yeah, I've always enjoyed these streams. So yeah, Kara, keep up the great work. And
Absolutely, you've been
I hope y'all enjoyed this one.
yep, you've been such a huge part of the channel. So and this series also. So like, it'd be like it wouldn't be right to not have you on for this. So absolutely a pleasure to have you on again as always. And with that being said, we'll wrap up the stream. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. See you all.